information to get to. Uh, a lot of the games didn't disappoint this past weekend in the NFL, and let's just say that we're going to recap those games, week 9, of course, and also we'll dive into week 10 and look at some key games. There's not many from what I can see. I'll take your opinion on it, you guys' opinion on it as well. We'll talk about the NBA, and we'll talk about Mr. James Harden making his debut for the Los Angeles Clippers, as well as key injuries and a couple of key games yesterday. Um, Early clashes in each division with divisional leaders being in the 1-2 spots that took place yesterday. Also, we'll talk about some NCAA basketball, men's and women's. It's on cue. It's on cue and getting ready to start. So we'll talk about that. We'll look at some of the All Americans on each side in the men's and the women's, and we have one All American right here from our own backyard. So we'll talk about that, and we'll also talk about the latest NCAA college football poll, which was just released, and the ramifications of Michigan
They're gonna do about
with I don't think they're going to do
They're not
anything,
going
but
to do anything.
we'll
that.
talk about it.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it. But we'll talk about how they figure in because they're in the running, and we'll talk about that. Remember, phone lines are always open. 774-425-2631 is the number in which you can call at. Always remember that you can, talk about what we're talking about. If you want to add something different, agree to disagree with us, um, whatever the case may be, we encourage the participation mostly. All right, we don't want to talk about presidential candidates or
No,
anything like
no.
that. All right, so okay, we're gonna start off with the NFL with the Week 9 recap. Some of the top games that took place, there were four of them. Ultimately, there ended up being five of them that were really good games. Um, I should say there were four that we thought were going to be good games. Three out of the four were good games. It was one blowout, but there was another one surprisingly that was good. Uh, First of all, we'll start off with the team who currently holds the best record in the league. All right, that would be the Philadelphia Eagles. 8-1. They beat the Dallas Cowboys on a pretty close game.
Very close
Um,
play game.
yes. Well, depends on
Well,
what
from your
perspective.
point of view,
It
but
depends on what
as a fan, it was
perspective
entertaining.
you look at. Um, there was a lot of errors towards the end from Dallas, but Philly held on to win 28-23 to improve to 8-1, the league's best record. And the Cowboys fell to 5-3. I'll take either one of you. I don't want to be the biased person.
The one time I root for the Cowboys and they go and lose.
Why were you rooting for Dallas?
Because he wants to get the
record.
better record.
Oh,
Better
The
record.
record, we would have been the one seed right now.
Well, let's put it this way:
But you're right.
you got to beat the best to be the best.
You're right.
still
Don't
play Philly this year,
don't
right?
help. Don't ask for other teams to help you out.
No, not at all.
You gotta, in order to be the best, you gotta beat the best. If you're gonna count on people, for wins or whatever the case may be, you always put the destiny. You always control your own destiny.
You're
All
right.
right. So
What?
that's
In that game right there, I'd like to ask you, Mr. Magnet, what did you like most about that game, and what did you hate most about that game when it comes to your squad?
well. I just wanted to see the Cowboys how they would come out and play in a big game, especially seeing how they pulled a no show against San Fran. I was pleased that they came out and that they were competitive. Unfortunately, the things I didn't like was their execution in the last minute of the game. They pretty much were penalty free in a lot of areas, but then the old habits came back. The holding calls, the offside calls, dumb penalties, which ultimately cost them in the end. I didn't like the clock management at the end of the game as well. Um, After Dak was sacked on second down to put them at like the 26 or something like that when they had the ball at the 6 yard line. Um, um, he ultimately, basically, what he did was he should have spiked the ball. It would have saved them about 10 seconds. He called everybody to the line of scrimmage, and you figure you try to do something with it, and they didn't. They didn't do anything with it. What he did was he threw the ball out of bounds. So basically, you gave up a down and you gave up 10
10
seconds
seconds to throw the ball.
to throw the ball out of bounds, which you could have clocked the ball and saved yourself 10 seconds. Lack of clock management, uh, lack of awareness, stepping out of bounds on a 2-point conversion. They left at least 8 points on the board. I say 8 because we don't know if they would have kicked the extra point. So I'll leave it at 8 because that 4th and 1, in my eyes, was a PI. If you go back and you look in slow motion, a lot of people say it's a bang bang play, but you can't tackle somebody before they have the ball, which to me ultimately led to his knee hitting the ground. Because if you look at the stills, a lot of the stills, the ball is like right here, and he's already being tackled.
Yeah.
Um, and like I said, which ultimately caused his knee to hit the ground.
But that right there is it's at that is considered a bang bang play right there because it's in the heat of the moment. It's like it didn't happen blatantly, but it could have been it would have been a good call either way. in my opinion.
Yeah, so I mean, it is what it is, but you don't like to see it when it's actually happening against you.
Yeah.
I'm not going to sit there and say that was the sole reason they lost. There was multiple reasons as to why they lost, but that was just one of the key cogs, in my opinion, in which ultimately led them to losing. Like I said, there was multiple plays where they had chances to go ahead, and they didn't succeed. Another thing that I did um, like seeing was, with so much heat being on Dak Prescott, it's a love hate relationship because he played well. He played well.
300 and something. Yeah.
He had
Something, yeah,
let's see, he was 29 out of 44 for 374 yards, three
Wow, better than
TDs,
I thought. Yeah.
3 TDs.
And any INTs?
No INTs.
And that's the part that
Um,
impressed me.
and CD Lamb had 11 receptions for 191 yards. Okay. He outplayed Jalen Hurts, and CD Lamb outplayed Brown.
Well, you just
Uh,
made
he
my
had
argument of what I liked.
he had seven receptions for 66 yards. Jalen Hurts had 17. Was 17 for 23 for 207 yards with 2 touchdowns, no INTs. Both quarterbacks played mistake free ball. I thought it was a hard fought victory for Philly. They did everything in their power in the last minute and 9 seconds to give that game away.
Yeah, try to give Dallas
And
the ball
Dallas
with
didn't
time on the clock.
Dallas didn't capitalize. So they got Dallas had to drive. I believe it was 85 yards they had to drive, and they got close to 60 yards on penalties. Those same penalties came back to haunt Dallas because they got a delay of game, penalty after a sack, which it's hard to believe that you could possibly get a delay of game. But then again, Dak Prescott has a bad habit of trying to change the play in less than 10 seconds, coming up onto the line and
That
yelling and
confuses
screaming.
people.
Well, it doesn't confuse people. It's just that when you're on the road, that is so hard to do. You got to do it with urgency. You can't just walk up to the line and do this, and expect that your center is going to be able to hear your cadence and be able to get the ball to you in a timely fashion. It's just not going to happen. He's done that before, and I think he needs to be more conscious and aware of time. But yeah, so that was some of the things that I liked, but ultimately, Philly was 3-point favorites, and they did what they were supposed to do. They protected their home field. Um, Now it's just a matter of Dallas moving on and not having a letdown game. And moving forward, not letting them have a game in which like an Arizona game.
Mhm.
You can't. You gotta show up every week, and that's something that they failed to do. So that was some of the things that I liked and disliked about them.
One thing about it is I noticed that these guys still have yet to give up a 100-yard receiver or rusher.
Yeah, I brought that
What
up
did
last
AJ
week.
Brown have? Because I thought he had a good
66,
game.
66.
That's it?
No, neither. No, Swift didn't have close to 100 yards, nor did AJ Brown. So I believe they're the only team in the league with that defensive stat to give up a 100-yard receiver or a 100-yard rusher, which is
Pretty impressive.
amazingly that's
Impressive.
that's key. They're halfway through the season, and they've yet to crack either one of those with the running back or a wide receiver. Any other takes on that game?
Well,
Um,
one thing I noticed that I was curious to see right off the bat was what type of energy Dallas would come into that game with. I know it's a division game, but it's a tough environment. They flopped in their last game against a big rival, so they had to prove that they were capable of beating the big boys and playing well against them. And they did everything they could to live up to that moniker. So I felt like they were well prepared. I felt like they came in and played very aggressively. Ball just didn't go their way toward the end. But the thing that secondly to that was what you mentioned with Dak and the combination with CeeDee Lamb. When you got a playmaker like CeeDee Lamb, and he is a playmaker, people question whether he's a one or a two. But if you give him the opportunities and put him in the right situations, he produces. He has to be established as the number one. He was obviously established as the number one there. But the other thing I liked is he used Ferguson very well too.
yes.
And that took some of the pressure off because as soon as you started worrying about CeeDee Lamb, nobody was able to play Ferguson one-on-one.
He had 7 for 91.
And
Yes.
2 touchdowns.
One,
Yes.
one,
One, I thought he had 2.
one. Not October had the other one,
The other tight end?
and Turpin had one.
Yes, Turpin had one. He had a
Oh.
5-yarder. Yeah, he's starting to make a connection with Ferguson. He was actually hurt for a game and a half.
Is he a
or so.
rookie?
No,
Mm-mm.
he's in his second year.
Young player.
He's in his second year.
They chose him over
Schultz.
Schultz, yeah.
It's I want to say that they've unlocked the key to getting CeeDee Lamb because prior to the week before, like you said, people were questioning him.
Yep.
And I just think that they kept on hiding him in the slot. And when you put him in the middle of the field,
Different cover.
it's easier to cover because to the left or to the right. A lot of times you use the sideline. As a wide receiver, you use a wide receiver to drag a lot and make them cover more of the field. They were just splitting him in half as opposed to featuring them. And that didn't work well at all for the first 5 to 6 games. So I think they've unlocked the key to that. It's just a question of them executing now at key times of the game. That's what I'm worried about.
Yeah.
The old, Dallas Cowboys, under Jason Garrett would always implode. They would always do something, a key penalty here, a key penalty there. That's my thing is to have them mentally focused going into, the big games and not, committing those key mistakes.
And I think they still have to find a way to further establish the running game.
Oh,
'cause
yeah,
they're going to need
absolutely.
balance.
Absolutely.
Their passing game was on par.
Absolutely.
I'm still expecting more from Tony Pollard. I mean, you got the offensive line there. I don't know.
The key. So this is the thing, they stood, they wanted to just stand and watch as the trading deadline went by. They should have went out and made a move for a bigger back, somebody to complement him. So you can pound, and then hit him with the lightning.
You could have went
and they didn't do it.
Signed Fournette.
They could have, they could have. There was a few moves that they could have made. It just wasn't Derrick Henry. There were other backs that weren't
Fournette,
as
Cook.
big names, but that were more physical. And let's just you know hypothetically, if Pollard were to get hurt, now where are you left?
That little guy,
Um,
right?
uh,
The little guy.
And you look like
well, no,
Vic
no,
in
no.
Minnesota.
You got Dowdle, who's slightly bigger,
Okay.
but he's still not a big back. They don't have anybody in there with the capability like of a Zeke, that you can give the ball and he can get the tough 2 yards. They don't have anybody on their roster that can do that. And I think that ultimately is going to be where they downfall, because you shouldn't have to finish a 3rd and 1 or whatever with copying somebody else's play, a tush push.
Yeah.
It's been years since I've seen them try to do something like that. They've always had a bruising back, even if it were a specialty back, to come in and get them 1 yard.
You guys don't have a fullback at all?
We have a fullback, but he's not that type of guy.
Yeah.
He's a blocking fullback. He's not a running fullback. So that's something that they needed to address, and they didn't. On the flip side, they did sign. I don't know what it's going to be like, but they did sign Martavius Bryant. I don't know. He's been out of football for 2 years.
I thought that was a joke.
No, he's been out of football.
That's a real signing.
Yes, he's been out of football for 2 years.
He's a big wide receiver, but I don't know what.
It's one of those things where they had a roster spot to burn, and no one had to be moved. So it's low risk, high reward.
How are the rumors on talking about trying to get rid of Cook?
That's just coming up now, but I mean, I still think that they fixed the problem with CD Lamb. Now they have to fix the problem with Cook.
Why aren't they not using him? Because
that's a lot of
obviously,
right there,
he's a different type of receiver than Lamb.
Yeah, he's a take the top off type of guy. But now they have to figure out how to incorporate him, because Gallup just isn't. He got signed for big money and he's just not producing. He's not even coming close to producing. So that's the take with Dallas. I like I said, I was happy that they competed, but more disappointed at the end that they were at the finish line, but they couldn't stretch out and break the tape. So that's it. As far as another game, a game in which we thought that would have been more competitive, and it didn't turn out to be, was Cincinnati and Buffalo.
Well, that was competitive.
I didn't
24-18.
The score was, for me, it was pretty much one-sided in the beginning. Buffalo came back
for the Baltimore game.
Buffalo came back, but it's more of the same, It's Cincinnati coming out and putting their foot in the ground, and
they do this every year.
Yeah.
We talked about that last week. Cincinnati starts strong, but by midseason to the end of the year, they're not the ones you want to be having to play. You don't want to see them in the first round of the playoffs. You don't want to see them on a meaningful game.
It was 14-7 in the first quarter. Then it turned out to be 21-7 at the half. 21-10, 24-10, 24-18.
Yeah, well, it was a late touchdown.
Yeah.
But it's just the same thing. I was picking Buffalo as one of the teams to be there in the end, and they're going just the opposite.
Honestly,
they're going in the opposite direction.
I have two teams that are right now at this point of the season. Two teams that are biggest disappointments, and Buffalo's one of them.
Yeah. They are every year they want to. All the writers want, Josh, a big strong arm, and so he's thrown an interception in 5 straight games. Every game this year, I gave the stat 2 weeks ago. Every game, I think it's 17 straight games he's had a turnover, whether it's an interception or a fumble. And that's just unacceptable because obviously the quarterback holds on to the ball more than anyone else.
And he's also running the ball more than anybody else.
Well, what's the running back's name there?
Cook.
No.
Ooh.
for Buffalo?
Cook.
Him and Singletary.
Not Singletary's not there no more. Singletary's
Oh, he went to
Singletary's in Texans. Cook is the running back.
yeah, Dalvin Cook's brother.
Who's the other guy who's the backup there? Who was getting? They were split.
Latavius Murray. He only had 2 carries.
No. They get a guy that was out on IR.
He didn't play last week because I'm looking at their box.
Well, he's
score,
been
and
on
it says Cook and
IR.
Murray.
Oh, he's not IR. He's been out for 2 to 3 weeks with I think it's I don't know if it was concussion or something. It's backup. He's a backup running back. He was splitting with Cook. That's why they got Murray's playing because I forget his name.
It's not coming to me.
I forget his name. Backup running back for Buffalo. Was it Harris? He was splitting times with Cook. He's been out for 3 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks. He's on IR. I think he's supposed to be.
It was the Patriots. The Patriots guy.
I don't know if he was a Patriots guy.
Damian Harris?
Yeah.
Was it Damian?
Yeah, Damian Harris was with the Patriots. He was their lead back last year.
Yeah, I think he was.
And then he got overtaken by Stevenson.
I'm not sure. But he was the one that was getting. He was the one that was getting the touches with Cook. It was him and Cook that were getting the touches, and then he got hurt. He's been out now for 3 or 4 weeks. So now they switched over with Murray, but yeah, every year you hear, they fall in love with Josh Allen and the big, strong quarterback, rocket arm, does this, does that. And every year he seems to disappoint more and more. I don't know. I don't know. But since it's the same old story with them. The last 3 years, they've done the same thing.
Yep.
They start out bad. This was the 4th straight win for them, or 5th straight.
Usually coincides with Burrow's health. He's come off injuries every season, or gotten hurt close to the beginning of the season. But when he heals up,
it's their 4th.
Start to gel.
It's their 4th straight win. After starting the season off at 1-3.
Mm-hmm.
So now,
and Chase hasn't had that great a year. He's had like 2 good games.
The thing,
but Higgins is hurt right now.
No, did he get hurt?
Yeah, he's questionable for this week.
He had a big
and Chase was questionable because he fell on his back.
He had so T. Higgins.
He's playing, but they said T. Higgins was questionable.
Yeah, questionable.
He had his best game of the year. He had 8 receptions for 110 yards.
I don't even remember where he got hurt. I remember seeing Chase fall on his back, but he came back in. But when I saw NFL Live today, they said Chase is going to play, but Higgins is questionable to doubtful. And I was like, what did he do to hurt himself? I forgot what he did.
So yeah, and that's the funny part about it. They dominate, but so what Burrow did is he spread the wealth out.
He's making Boyd look good again.
Listen, so it wasn't the Jamar Chase. It wasn't just his show. He spread the ball out. I want to say to 6 or 7 different wide receivers.
And then they had a good running game from Mixon.
Yes, yeah.
He looks like he's revitalized.
He's been putting up numbers this year.
Makes me wonder if he's 100% healthy. Maybe he wasn't in the past, but he split with Sammy P. Ryan at the time, man. Now it's his show.
Well, he was splitting because I don't think he was fully healthy.
Yeah,
because
that's
a
what
few years ago when he was fully healthy, Sammy P. Ryan was only getting a handful of carries every now and then.
He's been running with authority. I've been impressed with the way Mixon's been playing this year. And that's what I was making the point with Dallas. When you can mix in a solid running game and you have a nice passing attack, when you're not one-dimensional, you don't know what to prepare for. If one thing's not working, you can mix it up. But Mixon is going to bring more value than people think to Cincinnati.
Yeah.
They did lose one of their offensive linemen. I think, were they the ones that had Jedrick Willis, or was that the Browns?
I'm not sure.
But one of their offensive linemen, because they had a bunch of offensive linemen that they've drafted recently. And so I'm trying to think if the other guy that they got from you guys, is he out for the year?
Yeah,
no, they cut him.
They cut him?
They cut him.
Oh, I thought he was.
No, he was horrible. He was horrible. Horrible.
Right?
Yes, horrible.
How do you go from being real good to, is it system? Is it?
Oh, they cut him.
Smoking too much weed, like in that draft day video?
They cut him. So Another game that started off kind of the same way was the KC
Higgins not.
Miami game.
Yeah.
They started off what 21-0.
21-0.
And then Miami slowly clawed their way back in.
But one of them touchdowns was a fumble
Yeah,
return.
yeah. Well, it doesn't make a difference. How you get them is how you get them.
Yeah, exactly.
Tyreek Hill gave it up. But they came back and they got their own turnovers to create a 7-point deficit. It's just that on that fourth down they were at what, like the 20 something.
That's a bad way to lose a game.
Yes,
Like,
a miscue on a snap.
On a snap, like you can't have that. You're in the NFL, bro.
Yeah.
You cannot have that. That's some Pop Warner stuff.
And if you look at the stats, right, you would think that both quarterbacks might have had huge games, or it might have been offensive. It wasn't. So Pat Mahomes was 20 out of he was I got 20 out of 20 out of 30 for 185 yards, 2 TDs. Travis Kelce only had 3 receptions for 14 yards.
That's something that you don't see.
No. Well, they took him away.
They
They were doubling him.
Yeah.
They were doubling him.
Yeah, but how many teams doubled him and still?
Well,
That's
the emphasis was definitely on him. So if you notice that every time they got within the red zone, he had 2 guys, one under and one under and over. Typically, what they'll do is they'll put somebody back, but it was like they had him boxed right in the middle. So Tua was 21 out of 34 for 193 yards, 1 TD, and Tyreek Hill had 8 receptions for 62 yards. They kind of boxed him in 2. They were physical with him.
Yeah.
So the thing that I don't understand is, why do teams give him a free run?
I don't know.
I would play a guy on him, all right, and then I play one over the top. I'm going to make you drop a perfect pass in there. I'm not going to give you a free run.
You don't want to do that top speed.
No. I'm going to definitely get physical with him off the line. So what if he runs by my first guy? You know what? I've got the second guy there. If he runs by him, then you got that. As opposed to just giving him a free run off of the line of scrimmage. Somebody just said motion can't stop that. No, motion can't stop it, but you know what? At least you know that he's there. All right. You're going to have him in the back of your mind, and you're going to know, listen, they're not going to put him in motion all the time.
No.
You know what I'm saying? I would take my chances of being physical with him off the line of scrimmage, as opposed to just a free, easy release off the line of scrimmage. It doesn't bode well for you when that happens. I mean, just look at the big games that he's had. And you'll see a lot of times no one's put their hands on them. You have to get physical with them. We've seen it work in so many situations. We've seen the greatest show on turf, right? The Patriots put hands all over them, hands to the point where they were holding them.
Yep.
You know what? If it's only a hold if it gets called.
Exactly.
Right? It's only a hold if it gets called. And as a result of all those holds, they changed the greatest show on turf. The rules the following year because of that.
When you say New Bedford Bears, you got to put a capital B, my man. Yes, big ups to the 8U, bringing home the championship.
Yes, congratulations.
Yes,
I did see that on.
Now, was that a state championship or
That was just Pop Warner right now at the Rhode Island RISMA. Now, not
so they can advance further? Or
not this week. Next week we play against another team, so the New England. So
yeah.
Big ups.
Congratulations to them.
Thank you.
Also, we can talk about another game.
Hopefully, you're going to say Baltimore.
Yes,
they look real impressive.
Yes,
Baltimore has been playing good.
Yes.
Is there really something to talk about right there, though?
Well, yeah.
Seattle struggles coming cross country and playing those early games, and they got caught last week.
16-1 against the NFC.
Yes. 2 consecutive weeks where they put the hurt on 2 divisional leaders.
Good teams, yeah.
One scored 7 and one scored 6 or whatever it was.
6 and 3.
6
you
and
want
3.
to talk about somebody
9
who
points.
always manages to have a good running game, no matter how many running backs get hurt. Gus Edwards was playing unbelievable.
Yeah,
he gets hurt. Justice Hill kind of banged up. Now they got some rookie dude in there who I never heard of. Who was the dude that had a good game last week for them?
For who?
For Baltimore.
Rookie, undrafted rookie. Mitchell.
Yeah.
He
I was
rushed for
like,
138 yards.
we never heard of you, and you're getting 130 yards.
Little guy too, short, built like Ray Rice.
That's when I know the offensive line scheme must be really good because it's plug and play. Everybody they put in at running back looks good in that system. Bet you they wouldn't look good on other teams, but when that offensive line.
Well, the thing too is, not only do you have to scheme for, Lamar Jackson, you have to look at him first.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so it's almost like a flashbang, and then okay, well, guess who's coming out the back door?
Yeah, exactly.
One of those type of things. And ultimately, that's what they had. So it's tough. You have to scheme for one person, and yet they're like, we got this guy coming out the backfield, like an undrafted rookie, undrafted, 138 yards. So that's key. That's huge.
But there's another impressive part of that game. How many points did they give up?
3.
It ain't all just on offense.
No,
And when
so
they blew out these good teams, they held those good
so-
teams down.
So they lead,
and
the
they
league,
still scored a lot themselves.
they lead the league in sacks.
As a team?
Baltimore as a team
I
leads.
wasn't
the league
even
in
aware of
sacks.
that.
Yes, they
I know
by
their linebackers
huge-
are so good.
by a huge margin too. I want to say so I think they had 6 on Sunday. I want to say they get like a 7 or 8, 6 or 7 point advantage to the next closest team.
That's like one a game more every week.
Yeah. So it's not just being done solely on offense.
Right.
It's being done on both sides of the ball. And what's tough is when you get such a good running game like that with Lamar Jackson, it opens up the passing game because you're so dialed into trying to run stop the run. All of a sudden he pulls the ball out, and there's your tight end wide open.
Their management and ownership has made all the right moves on defense, because when they lost Judon and they've lost some other high profile players, I was like, wow, their defense won't be the same. They trade for dude from Chicago, Roquan Smith. He fits in right next to the kid they drafted from LSU. Was it the sideline guy? I know Smith is the banger, but they drafted the kid from LSU that's playing linebacker. But then when they got Kyle Hamilton from Notre Dame, that dude is a big safety, and he's been playing well. They got guys on all 3 levels of defense. The line. I think they got the best line. We talked about that last week. They got the best linebackers in the league. And then you got Kyle Hamilton, a young dude in his second year, kind of anchoring that defensive backfield. And I know they have another good cornerback. I just can't think of his name. I wouldn't say he's shut down, but he's solid. But their defense, they're scoring points and they're not giving up nothing. What else could you ask for? And Harbaugh is a good game manager. Like, he doesn't beat himself.
On the last 70-9 or something like that.
Yeah. They everybody was talking about the San Fran and Kansas City and Miami, all these teams, Philadelphia, and sneakily Baltimore Ravens have emerged as the most consistent, most dominant team to date. If I were doing power rankings, they'd be number 1.
Well, I did a power, just in case we did talk. I had them number 1 over Philly.
Yeah,
Philly. And I was thinking about it, but
Philly's,
I was like, Baltimore's made it look easy.
Philly's been scraping by.
They've been challenged.
Philly's been scraped. There's the sacks right here. Ravens 35. It's right there. Ravens 35. Chiefs 31. Chargers.
Chiefs,
30.
huh?
Yeah. Chiefs now got the best defense in the league.
Yes. Statistic wise, I wouldn't put them as they got a young, but they do got a young defense.
Ever since that Tyreek Hill trade,
yeah,
they boasted it with all defense, and then they gambled on like long shot wide receivers, which that might bite them later. But their defense is definitely the best it's been in years.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, Baltimore, they're one of those teams where you're like, wow, you're watching them just pile up the wins. And they play that division is the best division in football by far. There's no team with a losing
look at
record.
what Cleveland's doing.
There's no team with a losing record.
Cleveland's doing.
Hey, if the playoffs was to stop today, every team in that division will make the playoffs.
Yeah.
Rightfully so.
Yeah. No, it's a tough division. all those division games are going to count for something down the end. I think they're playing Cleveland this week. Is it?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll talk about that. But so yeah, it's one of those things. Like I said, you look at them and they're sneaky good. They are sneaky good. A solid running game, above average running game, and a great defense. And listen, everyone knows that once you got a running game, you can salt away the clock, and then you've got a good defense who can complement that. There's almost nothing better. Almost nothing better.
Honestly, that's what's helping out the Lions right now. They got a solid running game.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing.
Especially
So
with
if,
Montgomery.
if you can run, if you're able to run the ball and control time of possession, that's huge. There's you can keep a great offense under control with a running game. You just play keep away,
Yep.
and ultimately that's what happens with teams with good good rushing offense. So another sneaky good game that we probably didn't expect.
The
Um,
Texans and the Buccaneers.
Yes.
I was going to bring up
yes,
what was your
yes.
biggest impression this week?
CJ Stroud.
Guy.
What is it?
He broke-
407.
He broke the record.
Wait, it was 470.
it was more.
I got it right here.
470.
So CJ Stroud threw for rookie record 470 yards, 5
470.
touchdowns,
That's
Perfect
crazy.
You know how
passer
many
rating.
INTs he had?
0.
So
No,
how do you throw the
he
ball
has-
42 times?
He has one on the season.
Yeah, I know he went a
He
while
only,
without.
he only
having-
he only has one on the season.
I always thought he was the best quarterback coming out because he had the size, and that game he had in the Rose Bowl, was it when they lost in the Final Four to Georgia?
He held them in that game.
You were playing the best defense I've seen in a while. Not this guy in some of those Alabama defenses, but he tore him up, and he has the size and the mental aptitude. People underestimated his mental awareness. Like, he doesn't beat himself.
And you want to know something even funnier? He's got 2 ex-Cowboys that went off. All right, Noah Brown and Dalton Schultz. They each had over 100 yards.
Yeah, he had 3 guys over 100.
Yes,
yards.
and Dell.
That
And,
makes it interesting to say, who would they draft next year? Well, I think they gave up their draft pick to get 2 high picks because they also took the kid from Alabama, Will Anderson, who's just coming back. He's been gone like 2-3 weeks. Their defense has been playing well. Not that game, but their defense was coming around a little bit. But CJ Stroud, and remember, they got Nico Collins too.
Yes,
So they got 3 guys who are they got a bunch of number 2s, and then they got Dalton Schultz.
yes.
If they get a Marvin Harrison, or if they can get
Nah,
number 1,
He's gonna be gone before they
who
pick.
knows?
They're not
I
gonna.
think D'Amico Ryans is going to build that defense.
They're not gonna have a high pick. I think they're
playing
gonna
too
be.
well.
They're gonna be like.
What's their record now?
4-4.
Yeah, they had to finish with 4.
Yeah,
wins
they're
the
gonna
last-
they're gonna be in the middle of the pack.
Yeah, they're
They're not gonna get a top. They're
They're
not
not
gonna
gonna-
get a top pick.
No,
They-
that team is too. They're playing well.
Well, that'll play right into D'Amico Ryan's hands because he's a defensive guy. There'll probably be good defensive players he can continue to build with. Because remember, their defense, I think, if I'm not, you can look it up, but I think Stingley's been hurt all year. Their shutdown corner? Yeah, I don't think he's played more than 2 games.
Mhm.
So you got Will Anderson. You got Stingley, who's only in his 2nd year. Next year, you add a beast on the defensive line. Now you got those 3 levels of defense we just talked about earlier, where you got somebody good on the defensive line, somebody good on the linebacking core, somebody good in the defensive backfield, and then you can just add depth to all that. But I think the Texans are going to be a very popular team in the next couple of years. And to my knowledge, we don't have no Houston Texan fans yet, right?
No,
Watch in the next 2 or 3 years, there'll be people
No.
popping up. Craig Wiles will be all dressed up in this Houston.
nah.
Nah, he's a diehard Steeler fan.
I think it'll be more Patriots fans. Maybe.
He's diehard.
Patriots are going to all those old new Patriots fans that didn't like him before Tom Brady are all looking for new teams now.
Yeah.
They all be
They go
looking
back
latch
to-
on. I know I always did
I've,
like the
I've always
Texans.
I've always been a Steeler guy or San Fran. Why'd you give that? Who are you referring to?
Nah, I'm not referring to him. So yeah, I mean, it was interesting. I was watching.
And that was a close game.
I was interested. What was crazy was I kept watching, the updates. Every time you looked, it was one guy scores and the other guy scores and one guy scores and the other. And it was like, okay, whoever has the ball last is going to win. Ultimately, that's what ended up happening. But yes, I mean, he's right now runaway runaway rookie.
He's-
Well, you just blew one of the when you said midseason.
Oh yeah.
awards,
yeah.
I was
Well,
like,
I mean,
that
it's
was my
obvious,
pick.
but yeah,
Offensive.
it's
that's gonna
Rookie of the
be
year
that's,
for-
that's gonna be everybody's pick.
yeah. I mean, that's
Just
a
the
no
numbers.
brainer.
Is
Yo.
there anybody else that's even playing close?
As a rookie,
Right now, he's in the running for MVP. Never mind rookie of the year.
yeah.
CJ
Ultimately,
Stroud at
Yes.
4-4.
Yeah, he's in the running for MVP.
I think you have to win a little more to really be.
but he's in the
seriously considered.
running. I didn't say he's gonna get it.
He's in the
Statistic-wise.
jogging. I don't know if he's in the running.
statistic-wise,
He's
he's in the
running.
area code.
Well,
I would say he's in
you
the
know
area
something?
code.
I think he's had all 300-yard games this year too. I know before that game they were saying all but one game he's had at least 300 yards passing, and I was like, CJ Stroud,
Yeah, it's that's impressive. It's impressive to
because
as
you're
a
like,
rookie.
who's his weapons?
Mhm. Well, we just named 3 of them.
He doesn't have a dominant running game.
You know,
No, he doesn't. I mean, they got a nice running back.
who's their coach? Who's Houston's coach?
You just said it.
Yeah,
Who?
from the 49ers, D'Amico Ryans.
Oh, D'Amico Ryans. That's right. Well, whatever type of offensive scheme he's putting in there, it's working.
He must have a nice
It's
offensive coordinator.
working.
He's worrying about the defense. He's trusting his offensive coordinator to put CJ Stroud in the right position because he doesn't have the talent to be putting up these numbers. That's purely CJ Stroud.
Who is
People in position.
so? Who is Dell? I don't even know that.
Tank Dell's a rookie.
Tank Dell.
Oh, okay, that's who it is.
Yeah. He
Okay.
has a weird first name, but they call
Nah,
Yeah.
his numbers so far since October 1st. Yeah, 306, 249, 199, 140, and 470.
CJ Stroud.
Yeah,
Damn, I know they said there was a quarterback that
Well,
had 300-yard games.
He did something that hasn't been done since Andrew Luck was a rookie. Andrew Luck's been out of the league 3 years now,
I don't
and he
think
played.
Sad
and he-
stories, man. I
yeah.
thought he had a chance to be
But
special.
when you do that and you put up those numbers as a rookie, as a quarterback, that's huge. That's real huge. Another sneaky good game, Steve.
Yeah.
Steve, your team.
Everything was against us. I can't say I was curious, but I wasn't expecting any success.
So can we talk about
Not the way he started.
no.
Dobbs.
So what did we say last week, right? So we said he's going to bring an element to the team that Kirk Cousins didn't bring, his ability
Right.
to get out and run.
But we didn't expect it to be that.
Well, no, because
Especially the way he started.
well, he got there
But he had
Tuesday.
he had no. We weren't expecting him to play at all.
So
Didn't know the playbook.
So did you see them showing him on the line? He was introducing himself to
Yeah.
the lineman, and they were trying to
Then
get
he
his
was-
cadence down.
Yep, on the
On the
sideline.
sideline.
As soon as the old boy got hurt, man.
I was like, wow, that's crazy. But yeah, it's just one of those things where I knew right away that before the season was out, he was going to contribute in a positive way.
right. And that's why I was kind of nervous. He didn't cost a lot, but I was like, you're messing up our future draft picks, man. Because now we're gonna win. And he didn't have Jefferson.
He will next week.
Yeah, because he's gonna sit
Is he
one
coming
more
back?
week. He's activated. He's practicing.
Has he
but-
played this week?
No, I doubt it. They haven't ruled him out yet.
Yeah.
He's practicing. He's eligible to play. But he said he won't come back till he's 100%. So I think he's going at like 70, 75% right now. Might as well sit him out one more game and then see what you got.
It's not like the rest of your schedule is not hard.
No, but this week's a tough one for us because it's New Orleans, and I think it might be in New Orleans. But New Orleans won't be easy. And we got Cincinnati and we got you guys twice. Other than that, our schedule is very winnable.
But
But we lost Cam Akers and we ain't got no other running
It's in
game.
Minnesota.
Okay, that's a little better. But Dobbs learning the playbook, like Brian was talking about, that's going to be huge.
So for me, I looked at it right away and said, you know what? He's not. He played in all the games in Arizona.
Yes.
Granted, he had a 1-7 record. The one win against
Talk
the
about having
Cowboys.
no talent to play with, though.
The one win
Can you
again
name a
would
wide
come against the
receiver out of
Cowboys.
Arizona?
I knew at some point he would be inserted into the lineup, and dividends would pay right away.
Smart
And
man, you know.
and
Like,
little did we know it would be 4 days into him being in the building.
yeah, they said that he had an internship at NASA. And they were calling him pastronaut.
Yeah,
The
he's
pastronaut.
a rocket scientist.
Yeah, the kid got some brains, I guess.
All right, so looking at Week 10 preview in the NFL, marquee games: Jacksonville 6-2 at 5-3 San Francisco.
If San Fran loses this game,
Woo! The sky is
they're,
falling.
they're,
The sky is falling.
it's
And they're relatively healthy, so there's no.
Well, both teams are coming off a bye. Number one, all right. Chase Young is making his San Fran debut. The thing that's going to be key with me, a key for me, is who is going to be able to stop each other's running back. So Travis Etienne, 7 TDs in the last 4 games.
Midseason.
7 TDs in the last 4 games. McCaffrey 7 TDs in 17 straight games. Record.
McCaffrey's done nothing wrong.
All
It's
right.
the rest
No,
of
yeah,
them.
yeah.
no,
Well, it's
McCaffrey's been carrying them.
So listen, everybody painted this great picture about San Fran being bullies, right?
Their defense.
About them being bullies, and you know, all the 3 games in which they lost, they got pumped. They got beat up badly.
But the one thing I must say is, if I'm not mistaken, in them 3 games, they didn't have a healthy
Tackle.
Trent Williams.
He's
Debo.
Trent Williams. Debo's back. Trent Williams will not be back.
Well, that
show.
but yeah, it shoots
Pass
on both
game
ways.
and running.
Yeah.
game. Yeah.
Both ways.
Well, you got another playmaker. All right, you got Debo.
That helps.
Yeah, of course.
That helps.
You've got to.
We identified that Purdy wasn't as
And-
good as everybody thought he
and
was.
that's just it.
And he needs somebody besides Kittle, and Ayuk was the only one looking good.
Yeah, you need a playmaker. So yeah, I was wrong on that. The Jags are at home. So it's going to be San Fran, who's flying across
1
the
o'clock
country, and they're playing in Jacksonville. Both teams are for bye. So health wise, everybody should be getting or coming back. We already said Trent Williams.
Yep.
But you're getting Debo back.
There's one thing I'm curious about from the Jacksonville point of view is Trevor Lawrence has been playing hurt.
Yeah.
I hope that bye week helped him because that last game he played overseas, he wasn't healthy. I think they won, but he wasn't himself. He was limited.
I don't think he's been himself this whole year so far.
But I know he was hurt the last 2 or 3 weeks. He got hurt in one of those games, and he gutted it through. But I'm hoping he's healthy because if he creates that passing dynamic and the way Etienne's playing, which, like I was saying, Etienne is my AFC MVP right now. When you look at his passing yards, receiving yards, his average per catch, his average per run, that has helped Jacksonville get to that next level. They had a decent year last year, but Etienne started off the year hurt. This year, he's been healthy all year, and man, what a difference that offense looks like. But Trevor Lawrence got to pick it up with the passing game. I expect more from Trevor Lawrence. He's going to have to play well to beat San Fran.
Yeah.
Now, when you say your MVP, you mean your offensive player of the year in the AFC, or just
MVP overall.
MVP overall in the AFC.
you would? We're gonna get to that later.
Yeah. Let's not spoil it.
Yeah.
So another game is you guys.
No,
I think so. You want to know why?
It's just something to prove. You guys got to be somebody good.
but the Chargers ain't there.
They're
But
500.
good enough.
They're 500.
And it's
500.
in San Diego.
Yeah, but
Yes.
they I don't
If
know.
you don't play well, you
Oh no,
can stub your
we,
toe.
we definitely
So
we
you
d-
have to win that game.
Listen,
we
this
definitely have to play well.
this
but
is a get right game.
this team don't.
It's
I
a
don't know.
get right game.
Oh,
So
I've been watching them a lot.
the
Ch- was
well,
fairly
so
healthy.
so the thing with me with the Chargers is every single time we want to put them up there, they let you down.
Yes, exactly.
They let you down. It's like, oh yes, another big quarterback who nice ball comes out of his hand. It looks so pretty, and he's got pretty hair, and yet they lose. They find a way to lose.
They have one receiver.
More important, yes, one receiver. More importantly, their coach always finds a way to do something
Yo,
stupid.
I don't understand.
It's like Russia.
I don't understand.
He
how
always
still
finds-
has a job.
Well, that might not be the case.
Money. they're
He's-
saving with him at quarter coach right now.
He's an
I
idiot.
bet you they got their eyes on somebody if they don't make the playoffs this year.
He's an idiot.
So, do you think that the coaching carousel could have been changed a little bit had one particular coach who decided to come out of retirement and go over to Denver?
He would've
What do you
fit
think
right
he's
in with
saying
that.
now?
Oh, he's kicking himself in the ass.
What do you think he's saying?
Yep.
All he had to do was wait one more year.
Yep.
Well, everybody actually
getting
saw it coming, and he's in a less than precarious situation over in Denver.
But
Um,
and lately they've been playing better.
well, when you get 60 points dropped on you,
70.
or 70
70.
points, 60, 70, 80 doesn't make a difference at that point. Anything over 50 is an embarrassment. but you can only look up from there. I would think pride would have to kick in at some point, right?
Yeah.
You're there, but let's think about it. Had he waited one more year, this coach is going to do something to screw it up to get himself fired this year. And they're already underachieving.
He tried to do that last year.
Yeah, well, he did do it last year.
I mean, he tried to get himself fired. And they
You
still
know?
got him.
Yeah, well, you know what? They were like, okay, let's just wait it out. Let's see if dumb is dumber.
Oh, he sure is.
And yeah.
He's awful.
So yeah, I think this is a game for you guys to get back on track and to prove that, okay, we got beat up by Baltimore. We have what it takes to come back and play at the level it is for a team that is expected to win a division and do some damage in the postseason.
Yeah.
That's what I'm looking for. I don't want to see you guys come out and kind of just lollygag and just barely win.
This is
It's a statement game.
This is going to be the first time all season that we have everybody healthy.
It's going to be a statement game.
I really think just having the running back is a big difference in your offensive approach because you
How
can't
about-
sit on the passing game.
How about we haven't had our starting offensive line one game this year,
And they're all back.
and they're all back now.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes
That's
sometimes having the bye, in the later on in the end of the year is a blessing.
Definitely.
Because you're nicked up, and you just need that 1 week off to get right. And then coupled with guys that were already hurt that are coming back, there's no better feeling to sit there and say, okay, we just came off of our bye, and we got our full complement of players, and things are going to be happening. And that's what it looks like for them. It's key because it's we're at the midway point, and
Also, what helps us out is with Monty being out, is Gibbs, his confidence level is up here now. So he's that's going to be a crazy backfield, especially when they have them both in there at the same time. You're not going to know what to expect.
yeah. So the other key game is the Baltimore in Cleveland game. That's
I think
that's a black and blue
defense.
game.
That's who I thought had the best defense in the league.
That's a
Cleveland.
that's a
Cleveland.
Oh, I thought so. Oh, that was sacks that we were talking
that
about.
was sacks. Yeah, no, Baltimore had the most sacks.
Yeah.
Cleveland,
Thinking that
but
Cleveland got a great defense.
they do. They do. They've got a good defense.
without Chubb on offense.
And that's another major disappointment for me is that quarterback with them. I just,
Has he played enough?
is he really hurt?
3 games.
Is he really hurt?
I thought he chose to sit out San
Yes, he did.
No, yeah, he definitely.
And they won.
They
without
cleared him.
I was like, oof.
But they cleared him, and he's still now. You know what rubs me the wrong way is you got paid all that money, and it's guaranteed money.
Guaranteed.
So now you can call your own shots when you sit out. It just it doesn't
Sure,
compute
yeah.
for me. It doesn't compute
He
for
didn't
me.
have to. He earned it by just.
Oh no,
signing
but I
his name.
said, they gave you what you wanted. You owe it to the team
Yes.
morally to say, I'm going to give them everything I have. Deciding you're not going to play because you might not look good in a game after they guaranteed and trusted in you.
Yeah, they
Go out on your sword, man. The money's guaranteed whether you fail or succeed. Right?
yeah, exactly. It's
It's
guaranteed.
buy you through a big, negative part of your life and
And they gave you everything you wanted.
Yeah.
A guaranteed
sight
contract.
unseen.
So that's very disappointing for me. What we witnessed prior to his incident, his off the field incident, Um, how he was moving. We thought that he would be, give or take a year or two, he was going to be one of the, top quarterbacks in the league. And he's just done an about face. I mean, and even in the games that he's played, he's not looked good at all.
Nope.
Not look good at all. Very indecisive. Ball placement isn't there. Accuracy, nothing. Even when he runs, he doesn't look like.
In my opinion, even when he was with Houston, I didn't think he was that good.
I thought he was good when he had DeAndre Hopkins. There.
Oh
I-
yeah,
I-
well,
Hopkins
Hopkins will make you
One of
good.
the
That was-
guys just throw the ball in the
Hopkins-
area. He wins the 50.
Hopkins was in his prime right there.
He was a burner. He was a big
Yeah.
guy.
So
He won all the 50-50 balls.
I just think Hopkins made him look good.
Well, I think he did a lot of things. He had escapability going from him. He had the ability to you know to make things happen with both his legs and with his arm. And now he's like a shell of himself. I don't know what it is. How literally how you could decline that quickly in 2.5 years.
You know what it is? His muscles must be tight. He's not getting that rub and tug. It's gotta be, bro.
All right. Any other games? We
Yeah,
see.
Do you expect the Texans to put up a battle against Cincinnati at all? Coming off the high of last week.
So
I do.
I think for them,
The team,
what's
Cincy.
well, this is the thing. I think that if Cincy comes out and they come out the gate fast, it could be problems.
But
If they don't keep it close,
we don't know what since he's bringing in the bag either. 'Cause
Oh.
they had a few guys in the injured reserve.
well, this is the thing. This is
And-
this is the thing for me. If Cincy comes out fast and they start off quick and obviously Houston's behind, Cincinnati has a better defense than obviously their defense is getting better collectively, and then now you had the offense to go with it. I just think that in order for the Texans to have any chance, they're going to have to go tit for tat. I don't expect them to get down 14-17 and them to make, because Cincinnati's been there, they know, and they're going to play different. If you ask me, I think for them to have any chance, they're going to have to go tit for tat. They're going to have to win the turnover battle. They're going to have to do all the small things, special teams, all that stuff. You have to be on point.
And one other thing, they might have to overcome some chilly weather. They're not a warm weather. They're not a cold weather team.
No, they're a dome team.
Weather's changing now.
But yeah,
Could be 30-degree weather they're playing.
so this is the thing. There's a lot of things, but I just think that in order for them to be, and you know what I want to see? So the typical rookie quarterbacks, you see the highs and the lows. I want to see if he can come back off of that record
and have a good game.
and have a good game. Sometimes, rookies, they get a little full of themselves, and
See, I like his demeanor.
of
I don't-
400
I don't
yards
think
can
that type of
turn
dude.
400 yards can turn into 190 yards. So
He's
we'll
had a
see.
game like that
We'll
already.
we'll see what type of bounce back he has, and if he can keep it consistent.
And his worst game was against the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah,
That's the worst team in the league.
true. Any given Sunday.
Yes.
Any other games that we see? I thought that this week's schedule is pretty weak.
Because last week's was pretty strong.
Well, I don't know. It's
Saints
just,
and Vikings. Did we talk about that? We talked about that.
That's a curious game.
Yeah.
Well, we talked about what Minnesota did last week.
Yeah.
But I'm curious. There's only so much we can lose. Our running game has been abominable. And just when
Yes.
Cam Akers was starting to show life,
And it's only going to get
gone
worse.
for the year. Now we're right back to relying on Madison again. And Ty Chandler,
We got Dobbs.
yes, but teams are going to adjust to him. They're gonna prep to take Dobbs' running game away
Yeah.
and force him to throw the ball. So if he doesn't have some type of balance in the backfield where he can run once in a while, they're just going to say spy on Dobbs, and there ain't no Jefferson.
yeah,
Put your top guy on Addison and take your chances with everybody else.
yeah.
I'm nervous with this game.
So
It should be a good one.
Focusing on our defense.
well, yeah.
They-
Defense got to show up. Typically when New Orleans is at home, they play well defensively.
Kyle's not the best of quarterbacks.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
You know what I mean,
Their offense isn't scary. Their defense is better than average.
they got a good
The
running
fact that
back.
they're playing in Minnesota,
They have a good
makes me
running back
feel-
too. So
yeah. Well, they got two guys over there now.
Kamara.
Healthy Kamara,
Kamara.
the guy they got from you guys.
Yeah.
nah, he's awful right now. Williams,
Hmm.
he's playing awful. He's nobody. He's so bad. Nobody wants to pick him up for fantasy.
So all right, so we'll move on. We'll move on to our mid-season awards. All right. We'll stop first. We'll go right down the line. MVP.
I got two candidates.
You can only pick one.
I know,
You
but I've
can only
already
pick
mentioned
one.
Etienne, who I picked.
Okay.
But I had a hard time because I was thinking AJ Brown deserved consideration for MVP. He's been a difference maker for Philly. He's been going up there and snatching balls from people whenever they needed a big catch. He's seemed almost unstoppable.
So you got him for MVP?
I got Etienne as MVP, and I had AJ Brown and Jalen Hurts as a close second. But
That's interesting. My MVP right now is Lamar Jackson.
That's
All right. That's my MVP. That's my MVP. But for AJ Brown, I think I would have to give Tyreek Hill more of a nod.
Why?
Because
I'm saying,
the numbers.
I'm saying why he's shaking his head. No,
I think his numbers statistically, if you want to talk about from a statistical standpoint, I think right now, yes,
he's on pace to
2,000
yards.
Yes, I would have to go with him first.
The quickest to 1,000 yards in a season.
Yes, he did it. What, in 6 games? 7 games. But yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying. I think he had a good month. I don't think he's had a great season yet. No, I'm talking about Brown.
Oh, Brown.
I'm talking about Brown. I think he had a good month. He had a good and most of that was, most of it was off of the NFC East. He did it twice against the Commodores. Once against the Giants, and he did it against another team too. But let's talk about when you play somebody, in the likes of the Cowboys. He only had 66 yards. But like I said, Tyreek has been a little more consistent from start to end. But I don't know.
He has stepped up and beat the challenges when they
Yeah,
beat the big teams.
yeah, but I don't think he's always been the driving force, though. I don't think he's always been the driving force. I think there's been there's been a little bit of Devontae sprinkled in there of lately. And of course you got to put Jalen. He's just been spot on.
But my thing is, how do you not have Tua in there?
Tua is inconsistent.
Yep.
But his numbers.
Yeah, because he's
because he got
horrible.
yeah.
Done
So
either one
so for
all
me,
time.
so for me, it's like when you get up and you play a good team, almost you know what I call, and it's funny because guys are probably going to be all over me for saying this. I think the Miami Dolphins are the Dallas Cowboys of the AFC.
I don't disagree with that. I have a comment that's going to play to that.
Teams
that
until you beat somebody of relevance,
Dallas.
then yeah, no, I'll be the first to admit it.
Yeah.
I just don't see it.
I even put Detroit in there just to get them over the hump of being an elite team.
I just
once they get a signature win, they'll be
Yeah.
considered an elite team. So that's why I thought the Chargers game was going to be big. A road victory this week goes more toward that argument of.
My thing is the Chargers are only 400-500, so
and
that's why
Jacksonville in that category. They need an elite win too.
That's why I don't consider this a big win.
All right, let's get back on. Offensive player of the year.
Tyreek Hill.
Yeah, we just said it, right? We just said it. I kind of gave it away. Who do you got?
Well, I didn't do it because MVP was the same thing for me. So,
defensive player of the year.
I got Daniil Hunter.
I got the kid from Cleveland,
Myles Garrett.
That's a good pick.
Got him.
But when you're leading the league in sacks by a considerable margin, and you're leading the league in tackles for loss,
not considerable margin. He's only leading by 1 sack.
He's only beating Garrett by 1 sack.
No, it's not Garrett. Somebody else has.
It's not T.J. Watt either.
It was the kid from the Raiders.
Oh, Crosby.
Yeah,
Crosby must have had a beast of a game last week because
he didn't
Daniil
have
Hunter
any-
was at.
He didn't have any sacks last week. Oh wait, on Monday night, maybe the past Sunday, maybe.
All right. So
Well, those are both two good things, but I just think people underestimate what Daniil Hunter's done this year when he's healthy.
I think we're all pretty much in agreement with this one. Offensive Rookie of the Year,
Oh yeah, CJ.
C.J. Stroud, right?
I don't know, I'm gonna give it to Gibbs.
Of course you would.
But
How
yeah,
about your
definitely.
defensive rookie of the year?
Jalen Carter.
That's what I got.
Jalen Carter.
Jalen Carter. He doesn't get a lot of pub, but man,
No.
he stepped in and clogged up that hole.
He,
Rookie.
what he does is he's forcing you to run around.
I would give it to the kid. I would give it to the kid from is it Seattle? The cornerback there?
Yeah. Wow.
The tall kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The kid from Illinois.
Yeah.
Deion Banks.
Nope.
No.
No, I forget his name.
Give me one
Up
second.
until he got hurt, I would have put Christian Gonzalez in that category too. But I
Uh,
was really impressed with him until he got hurt.
uh,
On a losing team.
but the thing too is he doesn't have the yeah, he's a solid cover. We see potential, but does he really have the plays like so
Devon Withers.
yeah. Do you really have, like, in order to be that type of player, you would have to have something to show for it. You would have to show some type of picks. All right. You would have to be like somebody like almost like a Deron Bland. All right. He's got 3 pick sixes. All right. Um, 5 interceptions on the year. You would have to have something to show for it. Yeah, he did well against some of the wide receivers, but I don't know. I don't know if I could say outright with him. I don't know. It's just me. I don't know. But he is.
I said Robinson beats out Gibbs. You're out of your tree, bro.
Um,
You're out of your tree. That's gonna be the kid from Dallas. You're out of your tree, bro. The dude plays one snap.
Yeah, he's
Come
hurt.
on.
He's hurt.
Get him out of
He's
here.
got a lot of hurt. He's been hurt. All right, so let's keep moving on. Right. Comeback player of the year.
Oh, I didn't do that category. Comeback player of the year.
Gotta be.
Can't really say Lamar in that position.
Nah, because he wasn't really. I think.
No, but he got hurt toward the end.
I don't think he was hurt though.
You don't think he was hurt?
I just think he was sitting out because he wanted to get paid.
I'm missing somebody. There's got to be somebody that's
Comeback player of the year to me is Tua.
Well, he was having a good year last year until he got hurt.
Yeah.
Comeback is somebody who didn't do well last year, and this year they're doing well.
Well, yeah, you could have in that category. It could be somebody that got hurt. It could be somebody that fell off. There's a lot of ways,
That's how I see.
There's a lot of ways. There's a lot of ways in which you could derive at comeback player of the year. Tua would be mine, because we all watched how his season ended, and to come back and do what he's doing, and I think he's learned. You watch him now; he's sliding. He's sliding. He's not leaning forward.
He took kung fu.
Kung fu. That he should have took tumbling, gymnastics or something.
I put Brees Hall a close second.
He was playing well last year till he got hurt, and just the fact that he came back
he
so
got hurt
early.
He got hurt early in the season too, though.
Yeah. Coach of the year.
Dan
I got
Campbell.
Harbaugh.
I got Campbell too.
Dan Campbell.
I got
had
Campbell.
him up there.
I got
And
Campbell.
then I had Doug Peterson.
I hate to say it because I sound like a homer, but
No.
Campbell's done well.
No.
Yeah,
So if you go back to last year,
Baltimore's destroying good competition and playing well on both ends.
if you go back, well, the thing with me, how I could attribute him to being the coach of the year is, he doesn't have an MVP candidate, former MVP. He has a relatively flipped roster. All right, and I to take it one step further, I go back to and look at what he's done the last half of the season last year and what he's done now. He got the most wins. A second most wins to second most to Philly. Second most to Philly. But it goes to show you the transformation and the levels how he's done it. He's gone from what, one win? one,
Well, his first year they were 3-13-1.
and then
And then he
it's a
started off
gradual
at
build.
1-7 or
Yes,
1-8.
and then they won what, 7 in a row, 6 or 7 in a row,
They were 1-6, and then they
or
won
something like they went on a nice streak.
7 or 8 in a row.
Yeah.
They lost to
Uh,
Seattle
Um.
or Carolina.
So yeah, for me, it's just the progression and how he's doing it. And he's, for a team like Detroit, who's been, on the bottom for a lot of years, to have them playing the way that he does is respect due. So he would be my coach of the year. Um, so yeah, all right. Um, so what we could talk about now, because we're already at almost at quarter past, is some NBA news. We'll talk about Mr. Harden. We'll talk about Mr. James
The
Harden.
comic book character.
All right. So as you know, he cried his way out of yet another team,
And went
third team
to
in
his
4 years.
preferred destination, but you can't tell.
Yeah. Um, and it's not starting off too well for him. We all know it's not how you start; it's how you end. But
They were 0-2 in his
oh
first
and two.
in the 2 games that he played.
Yes. 0-2 with the Clippers. All right. And they lost bad losses to Brooklyn and New York. They lost to two teams. You know, that is just I don't know how they lost to
They don't
Brooklyn.
compare to them on paper.
Well, yeah, you look at the talent. So you have so I want to tell you what the problem right now is, what the problem is going to be for the Clippers. You've got four out of the five guys on that starting team who pretty much need the ball in their hands. And only one of those four plays any real type of defense anymore.
Not
George-
two of them.
George
Kawhi
plays-
and George.
George plays defense.
Not anymore. Not anymore. Kawhi he'll play defense maybe on the last possession. I don't know if you watched him play. He takes
You talking about George or Kawhi?
Kawhi. So watch him play, right? Watch him play.
Can't say
Then
I've watched him.
so no, but I watched the last time they played. I watched him play. He does a lot of peeking, a lot of
Not-
when he played for San Antonio, there were no plays off.
Yeah, but
He was in your
he was
face.
just the defensive guy.
Yeah. So it seems like when ever since he's gone,
Criticize that.
yes,
That he's been hurt.
ever since he's
That's the main reason I think it is. Afraid to do too much and get hurt.
there we go. That's the point that I was getting to. So I think he picks and chooses when he wants to play defense. There is no reason that you should, maybe the Knicks, because the Knicks could out finesse you, but there's no reason you should be losing to Brooklyn. No reason. I'm sorry. And it was quite comical when they lost. I don't know if you witnessed the highlights they had. I should have downloaded it.
I saw.
The one sequence where Harden got the ball and he went down the middle and bounced the ball to nobody.
I thought you were going to say about the one where he had the shot in the corner,
Oh yeah.
wide open shot,
Well, no,
gave it up,
so
and then he cut, and the dude tried to throw the ball out of bounds.
yeah. So that was the second half. So the first play was he tried to work the middle and come around a screen, and I think it was Zubac never dove. He just stayed on the and he bounced the ball. So they got it. Brooklyn came down. Paul George blocked the shot, and they threw it to him in the corner. And when he was in the corner, he kind of was looking, and he threw it a mile over the guy's head. And the play-by-play guy was like, yeah, he threw it to me. He was looking at me the whole time. Yeah, he threw it to me. I knew he was looking at me. That's not a turnover. I got you. You know. But the thing is, right? So none of those guys, one of Russ plays hard. Okay, I'm gonna give Russ. He's up and down on the court, even this late into his career. But the rest of those guys, they really don't put a concerted effort out to play any defense. And you have to get an identity. Right now, they don't have an identity. It's four guys and a big guy that we don't know what we're really gonna do. All right. So now you might have to take it back and say, okay, I need to be that guy that I was 4 or 5 years ago to get any type of fluidity going with that team. They are not so they've got currently they as constituted, they've got four of the 4 out of the top 10 or out of the top 20 highest paid players on their roster, which is not good. Um, but it is what it is. So he's averaging 14.5 points, 5.5 rebounds, 5.5 assists, and consecutive losses to Brooklyn and the Knicks. Um, I know it's only 7, 8 games in, or whatever the case may be. But if this is any indication, whew,
It's gonna be an ugly year, bro.
if it's any, yeah, it's
All 4 guys might get traded by then.
um. So last night there was 2 marquee matchup games on 76ers and Celtics, and you also had Denver and Golden State. A matchup of two of the oh yeah, we'll get to that. A matchup of 2 of the playoff series last year. Um 76ers held on. Christ, they were up by 16, 14 or 16 points with 3 minutes
I
and
want to say it was 18.
no, 16. It was 16 points. They were up by 16 points with 3 minutes and 24 seconds to go in the game and almost lost. Um, uh, the one thing that I do like about the Sixers is the they had 4 guys in double figures. All right, led by obviously Embiid. Maxi, I think that he could be an all-star this
Oh,
year.
if he keeps this up,
He can be an all-star because
he's
one he plays with pace, and it's a very uncomfortable pace. As soon as he gets the ball, he's 100 miles and running like NWA. He's 100 miles and running, and it seems like he's out of control, but he's not. He is just ultra quick, and that possesses a problem for a lot of guys. Because let's face it, there aren't many guys who want to play defense in the league. There's a select few. Um, I think they made the right decision, obviously, in moving on from James Harden,
Subtraction.
for 2 reasons. All right,
everybody
you
gets to touch the ball.
for 2, yeah, exactly. For 2 reasons. Number one, you have Maxi on low money. Number two, you just unloaded a lot of salary. Number three, they could become big players, and not even at free agency, at the trade deadline.
Oh yeah, same thing.
At the trade deadline. So salary wise, they have unlimited.
Isn't that like 35 million?
Yes, they have unlimited ability to go after people. Not only for this year, you can test drive them for this year, and then possibly sign them to whatever they want to be signed at. So yeah, they're moving in the right direction. How it plays out, it remains to be seen. So last night it was Embiid 27, Maxi 25, Tobias Harris 17, Kelly Oubre 14. For me, the key is going to be with the 76ers is going to be Tobias Harris. Will he or won't he show up when they need him to show up the most? People forget when they signed him to big money.
Yeah.
He
Hey,
was
Jimmy Butler.
yes, he was huge money. So he's going to be the key. All right. Kelly Oubre is going to give you some games where he'll drop 25. He's going to give you other games where yeah, no. He's one of those guys. Yeah, no, he is. So for me, it's going to be Harris, and it's going to be the health of Embiid. Can he make it through a full season without the back giving up on him, or without him getting hurt? That's the big thing. And when he goes out, will they be able to, will they still be able to maintain, the level of play that they did while he was there? That's key for me, for them. I don't look at yesterday's. So what was concerning for me, for the Celtics was, it's the old adage with them, 15 out of 47. Okay. When you miss that many shots, you should literally get blown out.
Because I didn't watch that.
15. I just told you.
Oh, I thought you meant that was
15 out of 47. All right. They shot it at 30%. They basically shot 30%. All right. So, the thing that kind of bothers me, and people say, oh, it's early in the year, it's early, but when that shot isn't falling, they do a lot of ISO, a lot of one-on-one movement. It's like one pass, and then somebody's going to do their moves, and they don't have it. They kick. It's a three. I still need to see more in the way of a set offense for them. And when they play against better teams, you're going to see this happen from time to time. You're not always going to shoot at a 40 something percent clip at 3 pointers, even when you get 40 something up. Do I expect this to happen next Wednesday when they play against Philly? No. I think it was an aberration. I think they'll play much better next week. But this is a trap you can fall into. And we've seen it before. When that's Missoula's MO. He wants to get up 40 plus threes. And it
Crazy.
it always isn't going to fall for you. Sometimes it's going to fall. You're going to blow teams out. Other times you're going to get blown out. Like I said, shooting at a 30% clip, 15 out of 47, they should have got blown out yesterday. They should have got their heads handed to them. And Philly tried giving them the game. They tried literally giving the gift wrap in the game. They held on. But that's one of the things for me with the Celtics is, did they learn their lesson, or has Missoula learned his lesson from last year?
Should be held accountable if it doesn't work for him this year.
Yeah, you have to be.
Yeah,
You have to be.
gave you 2 years. You didn't change.
First and foremost, you have to do it because you may only have Jaylen Brown for 1 year. Okay. If you win, you can keep him. If you lose, now you have to seek other options.
Sign Tatum.
Okay. Yes, Tatum's going to get signed. That's not the question.
That's gonna
That's not the
That would be
question.
the reason why they would move. James.
Well, this is the thing.
It worked.
When you win, it cures anything. But when you lose, you get looked at that much harder. And that's how I feel. That's what I feel is going to happen. If they were to go on and let's say they were to falter again this year. Now you're talking, 5 out of 6 years, 6 out of 8 years being in the conference finals, 1 year in the finals, and you lose.
Young talents.
Yes, you have to shake things up. They shook it up in the way of moving on from Marcus Smart, moving on from Ron Williams, and
Other story.
yeah, that's a whole nother thing. So yeah, they may need to revisit the Jaylen Brown signing. It's early in the year, I know, but through the first 7 games, he struggled, and he's continued to struggle.
Charlie posted an interesting
Yes.
article about him today.
He's continued to struggle. I don't know if he's pressing. I don't know if he's pressing because of the fact that he feels that, oh, I got that extension, the biggest of its kind, for this year. Do I need to go out and prove something, or it's just a mental thing? I don't know.
I think he's ultra talented. My biggest issue with him is his turnovers.
Oh yeah,
Handle the ball.
yeah.
19 assists and 17 turnovers.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, this is the thing.
Every time you give the team something, you're giving it right back to the other team.
This is the thing. So, like I said, they're going to be forced to take a hard look at it. And let's face it, we know that he's talented. Can he go somewhere else and be a 1A or a 1B? I think he can. It just depends on what role he's going to play, and who he's going to play with. But I firmly believe that if he doesn't play at the same clip that he played at last year and his numbers decline by 4 or 5 points, I think that the 1 year they're just going to keep him for the 1 year, and because you have to keep him when you sign for the at least 1 year, and then you can move on from him.
Especially the Porzingis contract, Holiday's contract. There's a lot of
Yeah.
other big contracts on
Yeah.
that roster.
Yeah.
They're earning their money.
Yep. So that's the concern for me. Philly, kudos to them. They're playing well right now. They've won 6 in a row. They lost to you guys opening night. But this is the typical Philly thing. I know Barry's probably mad at us right now and probably calling us haters. But until
post every day,
but until
we won't see no more
until
posts.
until I see them win when it matters the most, then it will change my mind. Just like I get cursed. I'm cursed for it too. Until the Cowboys do something in the playoffs, I got to live with it. I got to eat it. Do I like it? No, but that's CMO. Your MO is, what you're tagged for. All right. Um, uh,
I know that's Barry right there because he posted that. He posted both of them earlier.
the thoughts on Peyton one basket in 4 games, 29th and bench scoring, and Drew averaging 13 points his lowest. Well, you know what? He's going to average far less because
Other people to
you've
score.
got four bona fide scorers now. So he's not going to get the touches. He was the number 2 last year in Milwaukee. He's towards the end of the year, I should say. Um, but he's not going to get the. He's not. Will he lead the leagues? Excuse me, lead the team sometimes in scoring? Maybe, yeah, but on
He
occasion,
has to figure
no.
this out. His main thing is running the show and playing defense.
So
He'll contribute more by shutting down somebody else's.
so the thing is, they all knew you need to be able to mesh and
It's
and
gonna take a
mesh.
while.
Yeah,
It's
it's
gonna
gonna
take a few
take a
games.
while. I think it's gonna take probably a month and a half maybe
Yeah.
before they can all settle down and know one another. Um, it's a curve, and not only is it a curve, it's you got to figure for both of the Jays too because they didn't have that talent around them before.
Exactly.
And they were counting on to do a huge percentage of scoring, and now it's like I don't have to put out all that energy anymore. So it's a learning curve for everyone, and it'll take a minute for them to figure it out. But at the end of the day, I think they'll be fine. For me is like I said, the 3 point the 3 point jacking up all those threes is going to come back to bite you in the ass sooner or later. Um, you gotta have an option B and an option C, and it's got to be controlled, not just one on one. I see a lot of that ISO.
Isolation
Yes,
and the reluctance to give up
yes,
chasing the threes.
yes. Um,
Where are they ranking in defense? Because I know
so defense they were. It's kind of
is he in the
deceiving.
middle of the pack.
No, 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 no. Defense, they're probably in the top. I want to say they're in the um, top 15. But it's a little deceiving too because when you're scoring a lot of points, the offensive efficiency output in the first 7 minus yesterday was it was phenomenal.
You put up 155 points.
It's phenomenal, but it's deceiving because you're putting up like you said, you're putting up 155 points. You're taking a lot more shots in volume, threes, the whole to boot. So the other team is going to come back and try to do the same and chase it. So it's kind of deceiving. I really won't look at that till after the All-Star break. Then it'll kind of even out. But 7 games in it, it's like the guy who's averaging 30 something points, and last year he only averaged maybe 16. Can he do it for the whole year? Not after 7 games, what you're seeing is just that after 7 games. Show me that after 40 games, after mid-season, then I'll become more of a believer. The other game last night was Denver outlasted Golden State shorthanded. Jamal Murray, hamstring out 3 to 4 weeks. That's huge because last year they didn't have this problem. Um, they didn't have this problem, and now it's going to put a strain on their bench, which is already thin. And it's going to put a strain on Jokic. He played the whole third quarter, yesterday. You could see he was spent at the end of the game. He was spent, um, and that when you overexert, that's where the potential of injury could happen to him as well, because you try to push yourself and you try to do things that play extra minutes that you're not used to, and before you know it, you're hurt. Um, but yeah, so it's one of those things where after yesterday's game, now is it a mental thing in Golden State's head? Like, wow, this we really can't beat this team.
It might be. It might be.
You were down your second leading scorer, and you still couldn't clip them. And I don't know. Denver, um, they're one of those teams where you look at them and you're like, how are they beating us? Or how are they winning? You know, and you don't realize it till you literally sit there and watch them play. how fundamentally sound they are, especially offensively. They're patient. Everything goes through everything goes through the Joker.
And he's
He initiates the offense.
very
Oh yeah,
unselfish. He
yeah,
steps up when he has to.
yeah. So,
He's
uh,
gonna have to step up a lot more now. How
uh,
long did you say?
3 to 4 weeks. And also the Heat lost Tyler Hero too. He's out for 2 weeks.
Wow.
What do you do?
Ankle sprain.
Averaging 22.9 a game.
Yep. Leading scorer for them. Leading scorer for them.
That's why not getting Dame Lillard might have been a blessing because they kept their draft capital. He develops into what's now a mini big three with Bam and Jimmy.
Yeah.
Jimmy's only got limited years left. So
Yeah. I just
one
think
big free agent signing or trade deadline signing.
I just think that they're still, they lost a lot last year. That's the key right there. They need depth. They need more depth. But yeah, he's going to be out for 2 weeks. He hurt himself. I want to say in the second quarter of yesterday's
I
game.
didn't even realize he got hurt. I knew Murray
Yeah.
got hurt, but I didn't
Yeah, second quarter of yesterday's game. So he's going to be out. That's huge. And they still managed to beat the Grizzlies. Remember what we were talking about? Will they be able to withstand the onslaught for 30? How many games is it?
It's the third of the season. 25 or 30 games. Yeah.
They're 1-7 right now. One
They got too
in
much talent.
7. 1-7.
Smart is not expected. I thought the leadership he brought and the toughness and the fact that they played well without Morant so often.
Yeah, they probably not listening.
I mean,
to
Desmond Bain is playing great.
I don't know. I don't know what it is. But this is what I thought was going to happen with a more improved Western Conference. I thought that they were going to slip a little bit. Not at this pace. 1-7 or 1-8, whatever they are. Will they have enough to keep themselves close until Ja comes back? Now you're talking about going on like, maybe reeling off 18 out of 20 wins, which is going to be tough in the Western Conference. Let's face it. the West is with all the teams, it's going to be tough. Even some of the teams that are, at the bottom, it's going to be tough night in and night out to be able to put together W's in that type of fashion. I don't foresee it happening. It's going to be tough. By the time he comes back, if they, let's say 30 games. All right, I don't know the exact number. Let's say 30 games.
Might be too late.
30 games. Oh yeah, 30 games will be very late.
Playoffs, and if he's playing well,
Yeah.
Yeah, but you're going to face a Denver Nugget team. Oh, I win the plan. Okay, you got the Denver Nuggets. That's tough. That's tough.
Denver stays
It's
healthy,
just
that's a tall task.
it's just asking a lot. Can it be done? I wouldn't say it's out the realm, but it's just asking a lot. And now when he comes back, you got to count on him to be there for the remainder of the season, injury free and discipline free.
Well, we haven't heard his name come up in a while.
Because he ain't been with the team.
Yeah.
No, but he was being a knucklehead in his free time too.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. We'll see. I guess Barry wants to give you play by play. 27-12. Barry is.
But an interesting stat about that game? They're playing the Pacers, right?
Yeah.
You know who the highest scoring team in the NBA is right now? The Pacers. And I'm like, how?
They gave up 155.
Halliburton is having a crazy year. They got Miles Turner. They got Bruce Brown coming off the bench, and he's fitting in nice with them. They got the kid Matterin from Arizona. That's a second-year player. They got a bunch of. They're playing running gun over there, man. But they got like 4 or 5 dudes averaging double figures.
The problem is they don't play no defense.
Yeah, they gave up 155, but in a game they scored 152. They 134, 152, 124, 121, 104. So far.
Yeah, there's not much defense being played. Um, but yeah, so it's going to be a tough task for the Grizzlies. Um, I mean, if they want to, if they're going to do anything, they need to start now. You can't keep giving away games at the rate they're giving. Um, so yeah, I mean, it's early. It's early in the season. I'm not really hanging my hat on anything. As far as show me after 25, 30 games. Um, we said this last year, right? You had Cleveland, I think, was holding the number 2 or 3
still
spot.
think Cleveland should be one of the better teams. I feel like they should be better than what they're showing.
Utah was holding the number 2 spot
Yes,
for a while
yes,
last
yeah,
year.
yeah, and once we got to a third of the way, then you started seeing those teams slowly decline. Um, ultimately, to the point where they got knocked out by the lower seed, the Knicks. They manhandled them in the postseason. Um, but yeah, talk to me after 25, 30 games, and then we'll get a little clearer picture. All right, can we talk about some NCAA basketball?
All right. Well, uh, I got the top 10 list here right in front of me, what the coaches poll was preseason.
Yeah.
And do any of these teams stick out to you? Right now, they got Kansas ranked number 1, Duke ranked number 2, Purdue number 3, Michigan State number 4, who's already lost, UConn number 5. Then you got 6 through 10, Houston, Creighton, Tennessee, Florida Atlantic, and Gonzaga. And one thing sticks out on that list that I've never seen before. Look at the number of mid-major schools in the top 10. And remember, Gonzaga is a mid-major school.
Should we really call them a mid major anymore?
I know.
Well, they're
I don't-
good in basketball, but they have to work so much. They're recruiting for basketball. They're not in a major conference. They're trying to get in a major conference.
But they've been good for such a long period of time that they're getting. It's not like it's not as if they're getting bums.
But my point is, the
They've had
big name conferences that are in the top 10. They're one of them. Florida Atlantic has been a darling for the last 2 years. Creighton,
Creighton's up and down.
yeah, but they're number 7 in the country right now.
Houston's been good the last
And-
2 years.
And Creighton,
Yeah, but they're still from a mid-major conference.
wait,
Houston's been good.
Creighton's in the Big East,
Yes,
so that's not a
they're
mid.
playing with Marquette and all them.
Houston's been good the last two
I
years.
guess instead of saying a mid-major school,
It's a school that you
school
don't really
that's
hear.
not the blue blood schools that you think
The
dominate
Kentucky,
every
the
year.
Kentuckys, the
Yeah.
Dukes, the Syracuse.
Kansas, Duke, and
Michigan
they're always
State,
there. But
Kentucky.
I'm seeing a lot of big names that aren't there no more. The first half, yeah, Kansas, Duke, Purdue, because they got one of the first team All Americans, Mr. Edie. They're going to be good as long as they got him. Michigan State and UConn, and like I said, Michigan State's already lost. UConn won the national championship. They lost a couple of guys. And what happened to their center? He played so well last year. He's not doing nothing in the NBA, right? And then they lost a shooting guard that was like all world for them. But I don't see a clear cut number 1 either. I feel like every week, just like last year.
Yeah, last year was a flip flop. They flip flop for like the first 6 weeks or something like
every
that.
time somebody got named number 1, they lost.
Lost right
Parity
away.
is there.
So in regards to some All Americans, right? You just mentioned one, Zach Edey. All right, for Purdue. No surprise with Tyler Kolek, Marquette.
Only non-big man on first team All American.
Um,
Everybody else is 6'11" or bigger on the first team All American.
so last year he averaged 12.9 points per game, 7.5 assists. That's right. A little over 1.5 steals, and he shot it at a 47% rate. I expect those numbers to go up.
He's got to have some help though, because people will start figuring out, take the ball out of his hands, make somebody else try to beat him.
It's kind of difficult to take the ball out of his hands though, because he's the point guard.
Mhm.
It's not as if you're
Or don't
just
handle
going
it
to.
as much, but try to deny him the ball.
But the thing with him is he's a true point guard. He thinks pass first, pass more, and then okay, if I have to shoot, I'll shoot it. So yeah, I expect with another year of confidence, another year of experience, those numbers are going to elevate. It's just a matter of, like we said, the team in general.
When I was looking up the All Americans, and I particularly went to Mr. Kolick's profile, you know something that I wasn't aware of? Remember last year he didn't have a good tournament?
Yeah.
You know what might have been one of the, I'm positive it was one of the reasons. He was having that one game before they lost where he wasn't playing well, right? And then he wasn't playing as much in the second half or down the stretch. Him and Coach Smart got into a huge argument where they weren't speaking for a while. And I guess they worked it out in the off season. But
You better.
yeah, they need each
A
other.
transfer portal.
And Marquette is ranked up there, and
they wouldn't be if he wasn't there.
yeah. But I know they're in the top 15.
Transfer to UConn and then kill Marquette.
But I thought it was ironic that he's the only non-big man. Did you see the rest of the names on the first team All-American?
Yeah.
You mentioned Zach Edey.
Yeah.
22.3 points a game, 12.9 rebounds, 2.1 blocks.
Yeah.
I don't know if he'll have enough help.
Yeah. You got all big.
That's the kid from Purdue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's 7'3".
7'8". Yeah, they got him at 7'4" over here.
Yeah, he's huge.
Then you got Hunter Dickinson from Kansas, 7'2".
I think's a real good ball player. I actually like him better than Edey.
Yeah. I think he's more polished.
Yeah, he transferred from Michigan, right?
Yes. Then you got another 7-footer, Kyle Filipowski,
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 yeah.
or whatever his name is.
He's only a
Sophomore, another 7-footer, and then you've got North Carolina Baycott.
Baycott.
Yeah,
Who could have went last year, but 4, 6'11" or bigger guys in Kolick.
Yeah.
I don't even recognize nobody on the second team All American. They're all people that I'm gonna, have to see, prove. But when we mention them, nobody will know. They do have the USC backcourt, which is interesting considering Bronny James went there.
Yeah.
And their backcourt they got 2 members on the second team, Boogie Ellis and Isaiah Collier, the point guard and the off guard. And Bronny James hasn't been cleared to play yet, but I can't see him playing a lot this year.
No.
Backcourt.
He
Nope.
probably won't play.
No.
He'd be best to redshirt, and they could say for health reasons, but those guys will both be gone next year, and he'll have a chance to step in and play right away. But do you guys have a favorite player or a favorite team you're going to be looking out for in men's college basketball?
Syracuse.
Yeah, he's the old favorite. No, I don't.
Got a new coach though.
I'm not a teams guy. I'll watch it. You know what? For me, college basketball doesn't have the same feel to it. Yeah, it doesn't. There's no more 3-4 year guys. They're few and far between. So you get a lot of turnover. You get a lot of turnover from every team.
That's why it's college basketball.
Yeah, and especially now with the transfer portal, it's changed the game.
People in college.
Well,
in women's ball.
Well, so this is the thing. So yes.
Some guys
The-
they don't want to take
so-
the chance of being a bust.
So with the NIL deals, I think that helps. Obviously, it helps the college players, but it helps the guys who are on the bubble. You'll see guys like, what was that guy's name? He's playing over in China now. He led the nation in scoring.
the kid that fell short of breaking Pete Maravich's record.
What's his name? He played.
Somewhere in Michigan, Detroit Mercy.
No.
Guy that fell like 4 points.
No. There was another guy there. He came out the same time as
Who's over there recently?
he was in the Philippines. He led the nation in scoring. I forget his name.
Who?
I forget he was in he played for a good Division 1 team. A decent Division 1 team. He came out the same time when I believe the year that that Connecticut won the title. It wasn't with Ollie. when Ollie was there. Who was the coach before Ollie? Oh, so it had to be.
Not the white kid that was a shooter that couldn't play defense.
No, 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 no. They were
McDermott?
1 and 2. Was it no, it's not McDermott.
Doug McDermott.
No, not Doug
He came to
McDermott.
Creighton.
This is probably going back like 10 years ago, maybe even a little more.
That's probably about Doug McDermott's time.
I know McDermott was one of the leading scorers, but I don't think he led the country.
No, if you say his name, I would know it right off the rip.
I keep thinking of the shooting guy that was scoring crazy points a game for Brigham
Yeah.
Young.
No, he wasn't Brigham Young, I don't think. His name escapes me, but it's good for guys that are that are like there's clear cut NBA guys. So you're going to say once you go through all the pre drafts and they look at you, you're going to go between 17 and 20 in the first round. You're sure to be at least a second rounder. What about these guys that play for less than talented teams and stand out kind of falsely? Those are the guys that it's good for. Because let's face it, once you get into the NCAAs, if you don't excel, that's a precursor that you're probably not going to go to the league because you're playing against the cream of the crop right there. That's one of the big things. But so yes, for me, I really don't. I'll dabble with it if there's really nothing on. But I don't get into it until it hits conference championship.
But you think about it. Look at it like this: all these big name schools now, they're getting upset in the tournaments by these
Mid majors.
these
No intimidation.
small schools. It's not the intimidation factor. It's these guys been playing together
Multiple years,
all 4 years, and
So
they're
you-
older, bigger, and stronger.
and you're
Experience.
yes, exactly. So you're think of a guy like almost like a Pritchard, a guy who plays 4 years, right? And people are like, oh, he's doing when he came into the league, they're like, oh, he's a lot more solid. Well, he's 4 years. His body is matured, and everything is there. Sometimes a lot of these younger kids, their athletic ability is not matching up with their physical ability, and it doesn't translate. It might take a few years for them once they get in the league.
Jump out of the gym, but you put a little forearm on.
Yeah.
Now you can't jump at all.
Yeah. So yeah, that's what you're seeing. You're seeing a lot of these mid-major teams or a lot of these small schools. They've got the advantage because they've got a upperclassman team that has been playing together for 3 years.
They get that leadership.
And that's tough to beat, especially when you're in a one-game tournament.
Yes.
You can, if you have a decent coach and you have an experienced team like that, you might be able to go over the top of the talent. And that's what's been happening. Not to mention the one and dones.
Hard work beats talent all day long.
That's right. All right, dive on over to the women's. The women's. So we all.
Another big upset.
Yep,
Jesus.
I got the stats.
LSU got dominated.
Another Deion Sanders thing.
Yeah. But so did you see the stat? More people watch the women's national championship than watch the World Series.
Yep. And the World Series had 7 games.
Wow.
I thought the World Series was hell of a World Series.
It was, but they weren't teams that draw.
I know. Yeah, exactly. That's what I said. That's why I said in the beginning. I said it wasn't going to be a.
I'm happy to see women's sports being watched collectively more, not just by women, but men. Because that's when they're going to start seeing more money flow into their, when they'll get bigger sponsors. They'll be able to charge a little more. Once they respect the talent of the women's, and women's college basketball this year, there's 5 teams, just like the men's.
Yes.
We saw LSU lose. I mean, Colorado was number 20.
Yeah, no, there wasn't. They're not bums.
No.
But LSU, they lost a little bit, but they got
in a transfer.
Yes, that's the girl from Louisville, Haley
she-
Van Lith.
and
She has
she's-
14 points.
And she's good.
Yes, Angel Reese is back, and they got Flo J. Johnson.
I don't know.
But she was the point guard from last year. They got 3 experienced players, and they got the number 1 transfer, so they should have been stronger. They lost to Colorado, who happens to be number 20 in the country, but we weren't expecting them to lose, and they didn't lose by a little bit.
They got blown out.
They got blown out and closed it to 92-78. Now, who do you think was the leading scorer for LSU? Wasn't none of those big names. Wasn't the number one transfer. Wasn't the returning point guard. Wasn't Angel Reese. The highly prized freshman, Michaela Williams, 17 points. Angel Reese did have 15 and 12. And the transfer, Haley Van Lith, had 14 points, 2 threes. But they got blown out with all that super talent. Maybe they don't mesh well together.
There's only one
Take
ball.
them a while
There's only one ball on the court.
They got a great coach, yeah. But who knows what's going on with that? But Colorado has a point guard from Denmark. She lit him up, 27 points. 7 threes. She shot 9 of 14. But they had 3 girls put up 70 of the team's 92 points. Those 3 couldn't be stopped. Those 3 outplayed the big 3 is the point I'm getting to.
Yep.
And we haven't heard a lick of any one of those 3. But the point guard, 27. Aaronette Vonleh, who I think is Noah Vonleh's sister, 24. And Jalen Sherrod, 19. That was 70. So those 3 people carried the team. But like you said earlier, they've probably been playing together for 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
Where you had a new unit together. You lost a little bit, and then you bring in a number 1 transfer she's a grad student who graduated from Louisville and had 1 year of eligibility left, and she went to go join the national championship.
That was the
they
COVID
thought she
year?
was going to be unstoppable, huh?
Is that COVID year eligibility?
It might be, yeah. But
I think
Haley Van
that-
Lith was Louisville's
that
had
has
good
this
women's teams,
Yeah.
and even without her, they're still ranked in the top 20 this year.
I can't wait to see Paige Brucker's return. I can't wait to see what she looks like.
UConn's ranked number 2.
Paige Bruckers.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see her return. I was highly disappointed last year when she got hurt.
Because it was
Even before the season started.
Yeah.
To see how where she came from, during the previous year, how she battled back from that injury, and then all of a sudden, boom, again. That kind of it was like a stab in the soul. But hopefully she stays healthy, and we get to see
Not just for her and not just for UConn, for
women's basketball
in general.
Yes.
Because that makes another elite team
Yes.
that has a chance to throw their hat in and win.
Yes.
You got LSU, you got UConn, who's ranked 1-2 going into the year. Caitlin Clark at Iowa, number 3.
Oh, yeah.
Who's the census best player in the
She's tough.
and then you got UCLA, Utah, South Carolina, all the way down to number 6 because they lost to Leah Boston.
Oh, yeah.
They got some young people coming in, but we don't know. But do you know what the most impressive part was about Caitlin? We know she averages 28 a game. She's unstoppable.
Assists.
Yes.
Assists.
Well,
you don't
lead the league in
but
scoring and you're
but you didn't see her handles last year when
No,
she
I
was
did.
playing.
But when you
crazy.
think scorer,
crazy.
you very rarely think
Well,
they're a great assist.
well,
And
the-
she averaged 7.5 rebounds.
You gotta think about it. They got a
They
double
got-
triple you. So she
Well, the thing is too.
She was 2 steps over half court.
So what
yeah,
the
it's crazy.
I don't know if you watched it last year. So I recall watching them in the semis, and they had those 2 big girls. They had 2 big.
They beat South Carolina in the semi.
Yes, they had 2 big white girls, and they were like trees.
Oh yeah, they were
And
good too.
Yeah. Well, this is the thing.
Found 'em.
This is the thing.
Big blonde girl.
Yes, this is the thing.
Trees.
So
They were big.
so she give the ball up, run off of like a million screens, get the ball, and then like everybody would come to her, and she just drop a dime. And she did it consistently over and
Knew she
over
was
and
smart.
over and over. Yeah, that's
that's
a smart
Who's
basketball
double
player.
teaming me? That person got to be open.
Hey,
That's-
don't
that's-
double team me. I'm killing it. I'm killing it.
And-
Yeah.
A lot of high scorers, you don't see them play under control and as much poise as she's always under control. She's a great decision maker, as evidenced by 10 assists and still signing away to. I mean, she's going to come out and take what you give her, and she's going to take a little more. But when you think you're taking her scoring away, she's going to find the other people to score. She's always hurting you.
Yep.
But those 3 are going to battle. But I think it's going to come down to Caitlin Clark and Paige Beckers for Player of the Year. I don't think Angel Reese is the type that can carry.
No.
She
She had-
doesn't create her own shot.
Well,
she
she had
34 double
she-
doubles last year.
she lost that guard last year. Actually, they lost to 2 guards, right?
Well, Flo J. Johnson's still there, but they lost another.
The other girl, the one that scored, she played big in the
played
finals.
in the
Yes,
end of the game.
yes, she played.
Won.
She
She got drafted in the first round.
yeah.
Blonde with the dreads.
I forgot her name, but she was.
But yeah, you need to be able to have somebody that's going to be a threat, obviously, and someone like you said to get the ball to
She
you.
was experienced. She was a
Yeah,
senior.
yeah, yep, yeah. So it'll be interesting to
Ain't
see.
nobody going to get her the ball like that this year.
It'll be interesting to see just how it plays out. But we know the buzz is there. We know the interest is there. From my point of view, yes, when those marquee players are playing, I want to watch them. I want to watch
I'm
them.
excited about women's college basketball almost as equally because I loved watching what Caitlin Clark did when we saw her in the tournament because we didn't get to see her
No.
every week. They put her on like Saturday afternoons, but it was always against a good men's game or something else was good. Caitlin Clark's going to be on TV so much this year. I guarantee it. UConn, as long as Paige Becker stays healthy, and I'm rolling with UConn if they stay healthy to win the national championship. Yes, because they have a freshman that's real good. They have Paige Beckers, and they had the girl that replaced Paige Beckers. They had the backcourt back. You know how experienced that backcourt. They're gonna have two leaders.
Yeah.
And then they got the girl at forward, and oh my God. If they stay healthy, I'd love to see them play against Iowa, or I think they'll beat LSU. But I don't know who's on UCLA, but they're ranked number 4. I don't remember them being good last year, but I remember Ohio State being good. I remember Virginia Tech being good. It's a who's who of the top 10: LSU, UConn, Iowa, UCLA, Utah, South Carolina, Ohio State, Virginia Tech, India. All those teams are in the tournament last year.
Yeah. Just the like I said, just the buzz. It's out there, and to see them. Hopefully, this is the start of women's. I can't even say the start because I think in the last 3 years, the buzz around women's basketball has been so great that collectively it's helped the sport to rise. All you got to do is look at the numbers.
Because of the excitement.
All you got to do is look at the viewership, the numbers, and you can see it right there.
Yes, but that was her first game back. They blew out some small school. She probably played not even half the game. But I saw some of her highlights. I saw her going to the basket with one hand and dishing. And
she only played 21 minutes.
She didn't actually won something to 50.
102 to 50.
Yeah, but the thing with her, she's not a forcible player either. She's smart too. She plays under control. She scores when you need her to score. And
you realize she was one of only 2 people to be player of the year as a freshman.
Oh yeah,
that was 20 a game. Then she got hurt her sophomore year. She got hurt the junior year.
Yeah. The buzz is there.
I can't wait.
The buzz is there for women's
And they
basketball.
got some big games coming up in the next 2 weeks. They got to play Maryland, who's like number 14. They got to play Texas, who's number 13. And they play 3 top 15 ranked teams before Christmas. So they're going to get tested because we know the meat and potatoes part is going to be after Christmas. They're only going to play about 8-10 games in the first half.
All right, I don't mean to switch it up, but just a little hometown guy, Bryson Goodine, last game against BC, he scored 22, I believe.
He's still out in Connecticut at
Fairfield.
Yeah,
and right now at the half, the team's getting blown out, but he's got 11 at the half right now against URI.
Well, he's probably getting a chance to be himself.
He's shooting the ball.
And that confidence, yeah.
URI, huh?
And maybe they don't get him playing point. Maybe he's playing off guy, which I think is his best position.
The crazy part about it is their start lineup is 4 guards in the forward. That's why they get
play 5 out. Play 5 out anyway.
They don't have any. They don't have a center. They have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
And we had another local person that, even though we knew
they have 13 guards on their roster.
Jeez.
I'm sorry.
No, I was going to say, even though we already knew this, it became official yesterday with the signing of Nate Adams.
Yes.
They had their national signing day, and her teammates both signed letters of intent to make it official. So once again, congratulations to Nate and everybody on that team, because we know it's a whole team. Mom, auntie, everybody that's had a hand in making her who she is. Hopefully we'll be able to mention Miami next year as one of the teams that are,
It would be nice. It would be nice.
Yep. So now we got 2 local people in Miami.
All right, let's finish off with the college football. latest,
The rip off.
Oh, the rankings came out.
the
They
latest.
did a poll and
There you
they
go.
did writers poll.
There you go.
Rip off there.
Who do you guys believe is the true number one?
Honestly, I think it's Georgia. They didn't,
I haven't been impressed with them.
but they haven't done anything to lose it.
I know, but they were so impressive the last 2 years.
They got Ohio State at number one. They almost lost. They
I thought they got Michigan at number one.
No, Ohio State is number one. Rutgers
And,
gave them a good game last week. They just barely beat Rutgers. Like, I don't know. They shouldn't be, in my opinion. Well, it's for the national championship at Ohio State number one. They had
But-
Michigan at 4.
The top 8 teams, I think, could all make a claim to play well in a playoff, but we know only 4 are going to get there. But you're saying Ohio State's number one, and then they got Georgia, Michigan. I don't think Florida State is as good as where they're ranked, but I think Washington is.
They had Washington at 5.
Washington at 5 with Michael Penix. Oregon, the only loss was to Washington at number 6. I think Washington and Florida should move up, and I think Florida State should go to number 6.
But Florida State got no losses.
I know, but their schedule is not the same.
Strength of
Washington-
schedule.
That Pac-10, the that conference this year, not only do you got Oregon and Washington, you got USC and Colorado who score 1 million points. So you got to come ready to stop their offenses. You got Washington State and Oregon State who are playing well. There's a lot of good teams in that conference this year, and it's the last year we're going to see them. So just on strength of schedule, I like those 2 teams. And then Texas is a 1-loss team. Bama's a 1-loss team.
Yeah, and the crazy part
Penn
about
State got a big game against Michigan this week at 12 o'clock.
Texas beat Alabama.
Yeah.
That's
They get Quinn Ewers back this week.
That's a tough one. I think Texas could be higher.
Yeah. They've had a win. They've had a total line the last 2 weeks without Quinn Ewers.
What I can say though is Alabama's been playing a lot better the last 3 weeks. Yeah, gained a lot of confidence.
Yeah.
Gained a lot of confidence.
He scored just about every touchdown in their last
He's
game.
a great
Yeah.
running quarterback. And he
Against
can throw the
LSU.
deep ball. He's not a pinpoint passer in the short or intermediate game, but he can throw the deep ball and he can run.
So what are we thinking with Michigan?
Well, they're still a good team, but if they gain an advantage
But-
and it's proven,
This is the thing. Like, there's been a point. Like, you think about it, Patriots got caught cheating. It was proven. Nothing happened to them. There was another team that got caught. I forget where it was, but it was proven, and nothing happened to them either.
I think they'll drag it out and let the season play out, and they'll penalize them after the season. They don't want to tarnish because Michigan is a top team right now.
They're
Well-
gonna lose their quarterback.
well,
they're going to lose their quarterback next year and their coach.
Well, their quarterback's going to go to the draft because he's ranked number 3.
I think I honestly think that the coach is going to end up in the pros too.
Yeah, I've already heard landing spots for him. I heard the Bears.
Listen, if you know that you had this hanging over your head, why would you continue to stay around knowing full well that you're going to be facing extended penalties?
And because of you.
And because of you, now you're going to be in bad. You're going to be in bad with obviously the NCAA. You're going to be bad with boosters. You're going to be. It's not a good scenario for him.
Sponsors.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
That's what
That's
I'm
where
talking
we're making the
about.
point for him to leave.
The person who's the fire starter can go off and get another opportunity, but what they leave behind has to pay the price for the guy who escaped up. How many times we've seen coaches mess up their programs?
Kid from Florida, the guy from Florida.
Urban Meyer.
There you go.
So, but the crazy thing is,
I
right?
don't think he's as bad as Urban Meyer, but it's still
But so this is where I have a hard time because you hold players and coaches to different standards.
Yep.
If this were a player,
He wouldn't be able to transfer.
but more importantly, if it were a player, he would be suspended already.
were forced to sit out pending an investigation. because
Exactly.
they forfeit those wins.
Exactly.
If the
They
coach-
do not hold coaches to the same standards in which they hold players to. The player would have already been suspended until further notice, pending investigation. The coaches is like, wait a second, hold on, we have to prove it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And they don't. The due process isn't the same.
I've seen players suspended and then come to find out they were innocent, and you can't go get those games back.
Nope.
Yeah.
Look what they did to the kid that's the wide receiver at North Carolina.
Yep.
He sat out the first 3 or 4 games of the year, and then oh yeah, you're eligible now. Dog, this is his career. He has to he's making his claim to be a #1 draft pick this year, and you're
Yeah.
making him sit out over something you can't prove yet. But like you said, the coaches,
They hold him to a totally different
until we
standard.
can prove it.
Totally different standard, to the point where
That's the greed of the NCAA.
to the point where you know, Michigan, you know, as an institution is saying, if you come down and you give us some sanctions, we're going to sue you. We haven't gotten our due process. We want our day basically in court.
And guess when that's going to come? Not right away.
No, it'll come.
3 months,
It'll come.
months are
Yeah,
backed up, it'll be
Eh,
March 2nd.
yeah,
Like a year or two.
yeah.
It's not gonna be fast.
Nah.
And then if you win it and they make you forfeit the championship, you've already reaped the accolades. You know, the players have already gone on to the NFL. The coaches moved on to another team. You got all the sponsorship and TV money that was coming your way. Now, when they prove it, now the sponsors and everybody backs off. And the people who aren't even around, they're not even there yet, will be the ones paying the price in 2 years.
Yeah, it's
They got to hold the coaches more responsible in every sport.
and not only do they got to hold them responsible. Listen, for the, you know, as like we were talking about, when a player does something, it seems like the penalties, you know, it comes a lot swifter and a lot harder. Coaches, they're like, oh yeah, you know, you know, you can be suspended for a few games here and there, but we're gonna wait till the season's over.
The crazy part about it is this guy already took a in-house suspension.
Yeah, he gave himself from 3 games from last year.
To guilt.
Yeah, come on.
3 games from with his smoke this 5.
I did something not as bad as you're claiming.
With his smoke this 5. That's the way how I look at it. And if I were him, obviously nothing is going to be done before the, you know, January,
No.
you know, before the college football playoffs are done. I would seriously start looking and see who's taking interest in me from an NFL point of view.
I'm sure he's already done.
Because there's not going, if they, you know, and I shouldn't say if, when they come to the conclusion, it's not going to be in his favor. I mean, they've got everything. The only thing that he can say is like, well, he was doing it on his own. I had no idea that he was doing this. And that's a lie, because that guy he's his right-hand guy. Yeah. So, you know, they got him dead to rights, and, you know, in different outfits and stuff like that. They've got him there. So it's just a question of linking him there.
The eye in the sky.
Yeah. It's just a question of him linking to, you know, what he gave him, or, you know, what did you get? What did you get, and how can I use it? Okay. So, you know, the only thing that can prove that is emails, text messages, and stuff like that. And you know that they're probably smarter, that they never collabed in that way. So it's going to be almost impossible to prove, but they got him dead to rights being there, you know, and all that stuff. So he's half guilty, and it's a reflection upon the coach, because he's on their staff. So if I'm Harbaugh, I'm like this. Yeah, okay. Who's doing really bad right now? Yeah, I'll field offers from this NFL team, that NFL team, and see you later.
Today on NFL Live to the Chicago Bears.
They're
gonna clear house.
It's been since, you know. So you know what's crazy is, like, the NFL is almost condoning it. Because if he's in demand and they're mentioning names, it's like, yeah, he cheated in college. It's okay though. You can come over. You can come over to the NFL, because you know, we've got you're a clean slate with us.
He was good as a pro coach.
Yeah. So now this is what you're going to see, and this, you know, I think that, you know, once you do something, it should follow you. You shouldn't be allowed to be doing any coaching.
You're suspended for 3 years from any college or professional. Hit them in the pocket, hit them in the opportunities, and your guaranteed contract isn't guaranteed. If what they call it, just cause, when they fight, like the guy at Michigan State, the black coach, he had 3 more years left on his contract. He had just signed it last year. he's only in his second year, so he had 3 more years left. Just cause.
Yeah,
That's the only out.
on,
He's
on
not
any
getting paid,
contract,
but he doesn't have the name of Harbaugh. Same state.
On any contract, there's always that disclaimer. If
For
you
him
do,
making a sexual harassment, this guy was cheating in the sport. And I'm not saying sexual harassment is not important, but you're cheating to be successful. You're giving your team an unfair advantage. This guy just was a jerk to women, and yeah, maybe he should have lost his job if they could prove it, but they didn't say they proved it on him.
yeah.
But Jim Harbaugh's a more high-profile guy. Michigan's a more high-profile. NCAA benefits, and like Brian said, the pros will benefit. The pros are sitting there saying, "Yeah, I hope he gets everything he deserves, because then he can come with us."
Yeah. It's like you're almost condoning it. Like, yeah, he did it in college, but this is the NFL. Pretty sad, but true. All right, pretty sad, but true. All right, we're gonna wrap this this edition of Straight to Points up. All right.
I do want to send a shout out tonight, real quick. Best of luck to New Bedford Voc-Tech Bears. They're playing in a playoff game tonight at Bishop Stang. I forgot who they're playing against. If anybody has any updates, text me, throw it on the post, whatever. But I know the game started at 6, so it should be ending now.
Yeah, 8:13. Yeah. So a quick reminder: we also have a comedy show coming up next Friday. All right. We had our headliner on today on Mags in the Morning, along with myself and Janine. He did a live phone interview with us, and he can't wait
fellow
to
law
come down.
enforcement guy, huh?
He can't wait to come down.
I heard something about you telling him I was taking him out to dinner, though.
I didn't say you were taking. I said
make sure Steve takes you out for some seafood
or some Cape Verdean food. Yes, exactly.
Steve will take care of you.
Yeah,
he's gonna get some oodles and noodles with some
yeah.
Brava mix in it.
Yeah. And he wasn't that familiar with Cape Verdean people, so I said, you know something?
He's only been to Boston.
Yeah, that's what he said. That's what he said. So I said, well, you'll find out really quick. I said, because probably 80% of our crowd is of Cape Verdean descent.
And not only that isn't the host.
That's what I was getting at. I said, and also you have the Cape Verdean comedian. So you'll find out really quick. But yeah, so next Friday at our new location.
Local.
Yes. It's a hop, skip, and a jump. Easy access to and from on the highway. Right there. Plenty of parking. Vendors market, 8:00. We got food there, drinks, after party afterwards.
I miss the after parties. I like socializing with the people that come and support the show and having the comedians hang around. I really miss our crowd saying, "Oh, I got to take pictures with the talent," because the comedians, no matter how big they are, they're very personable. You see, they'll sit at people's tables. Like Mika Jean has a following around here, like she lives out here now. And there's other, people asking when Freddie Ricks is coming back. I check my inbox and stuff. People love the comedians we're bringing. Guys, you don't know what you're missing if you've never seen one of our shows. Please come and check it out, and then see if it's something for you. Once you come, you're gonna be hooked.
Yeah, absolutely. So, next Friday, and it's sure to be a good time. Like we said, we're back in New Bedford, so there's really no excuse for you to
celebrating the veterans.
That's right, half price off for veterans. If you haven't gotten your tickets, you can contact either one of us, or simply go to WMB1.com. You can purchase tickets online. We got them there on our website.
Yep. Whether you're buying a table, individual tickets, the veterans tickets, there's a category for each one of them. So
yes. Yes, don't miss out on that. All right. And be sure to wake up in the morning with me tomorrow. Let's go. Wake up.
I don't have to wake up early tomorrow.
Wake up. Is a vacation. Is no school?
Veterans Day. Yeah.
Oh yeah. That's right. That's right. Why was I thinking it's Monday?
So you'll stay up till at least halftime tonight.
Except the game's not interesting enough for me to want to stay up.
He's gonna have to put toothpicks in his eyes.
Milwaukee's going to be over. It might already, according to Barry, it might already be over. But I'll find some West Coast games to watch tonight, because
the West Coast games will be watching him.
Well, I am trying to see if I can go in early for my part-time job tomorrow. I've already made that known to the people over there. Like I'll start at 10 or 11.
The West Coast games will be watching him, so I don't think he'll make it to those. But yeah, so make sure you tune in tomorrow morning. I'll be giving away some tickets to a comedy show as well, and Yeah, wake up with me in the morning. All right. So until then, we're out, and we hope to see you tomorrow for me, and for us next week.
Next
A-
Thursday and Friday.
as
Thursday
well
here.
as well as checking out our guy Edward Blends this weekend.
Love when
All
that gets
Nation
on the
Show
radio.
9 to 12 Saturday from OKC, and Sunday Frequency Live. All right, Berto Carter, Joe Carrion, and
On this
Eric
show last
Damaris.
week, a lot of helpful information, man. I hope everybody got out and voted. But they had
Manny.
Yes, Manny DeBrito.
Manny
Yes, Manny
DeBrito
DeBrito was
and
on.
mayor
And
candidate Mr. Moultrie, right? Yep.
yes.
Tyson.
So yes, make sure you check out those two programs this upcoming weekend, and starting the week off again. You got to check out the Really Charlie podcast on Tuesdays as well. All right. Until then, we're out of here, and like I said, join me tomorrow for Mags in the Morning. All right. Until next week, we're out.
66-60, Steve, at the half.
They came
We're getting
back.
blown out.
All right, peace. We're out.
I would like to introduce
Okay, let's go.
New Bedford's new online radio station. WND